How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the summer 2024 seasonal anime cast of Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And the sun is shining, our skin is exfoliating, world-shifting events are happening one after the other, and we're out here talking about what really matters, Chinese cartoons.
Chinese cartoons? Okay. Yeah, you're being real topical with the intro this time.
Hey man, I try not to get political on the podcast, but the thing happened, and
look, you may be afraid to get political. I'm not. I'm gonna get really political.
Oh.
Capitalism, communism, socialism. I'm getting really political right now. I don't know about you.
I came here to be safe.
Crunch, you're driving away all the fans.
They come to this
podcast
know why,
for escapism.
I'm very angry right now for no particular reason. I think the politics are infesting me.
Today we are joined by a very special guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello there, I'm Superdude. I'm a YouTuber and basically nothing else because I am allergic to social media. Talk about video games and anime and honestly, whatever comes to my mind. But mostly just those two things. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're glad that you
no
came
problem.
on. Yeah, we've got the summer 2024 season in front of us. Historically, Crunchy, like the summer seasons have usually been the good ones, right? Because we've covered. We started this podcast around 3 years ago with the summer 2021 season, and I remember that being a pretty mixed bag overall.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's historically the good season. Like there are two really, really good seasons that I remember having on this podcast, and I think it was like it was a spring and a fall. I'm bad at years, but I think fall 2022 wasn't that when we got Bochi?
Yeah,
so that was
yeah. Oh yeah, fall 2022 is one for the ages. Chainsaw Man and Bochi
then
in the same season.
Funnily enough, like the season, I think it was the one we got Call of the Night and Licorice Recoil and nothing else, and that was like the worst season of that year. Funnily enough,
Wasn't that the same year? Wasn't that also 2022?
I think so. So summer 2022. I'm pretty sure I had named that as the worst season of that year. Obviously, with fall being the best.
Yeah. Well, as far as general impressions go, how do you feel about this one, just going off of these 19 shows that we've checked out so far?
Neon, I thought you'd stop putting all the isekai in the same block. What happened?
I thought I'd do that, but then I realized, man, with everyone coming in, it might be like pretty busy, and look, if we get all the bad shows out of the way first, then maybe we can get the more interesting shows for the second block.
This block
it's also
is like
not my fault there were like 8 of them.
isekai.
They're like 8 to 10 of them this year.
Genuinely,
it's not
so
my
many.
fault.
I am fairly sure if I counted out all the isekai, it would be the majority of this block. Like
it is. It's
there is a chance of that happening. It is? You counted?
I can like do a quick count right now. If we count,
I did not
like,
watch all of the shows in this block, by the way, so I'm not sure exactly which
pure
ones are in our
fantasy,
isekai.
but also counting the native isekais where it's an isekai and everything but name. I would say there's definitely 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12.
12? There's
Kill me.
19 shows in this block.
Yep,
12
more
of
than
them
half of
are
them.
isekai.
Yeah, of the
And the craziest
isekai,
thing...
yeah.
Yeah, like, the crazy thing is the first show on the list is an isekai, because before the season started airing, it was like the show people were hyped about. Obviously, a certain Deer anime has since taken that spot pretty easily, pretty deftly. But, the front runner is an isekai, and then, we've got generic rom-coms before more isekai, more isekai, more isekai. Just crazy amounts of isekai. And through spinning the wheels so many times, the season has, like, a broken clock is right twice a day. And stunningly, there are actually good isekai in this season. Uh, Strangely, I also feel like it has a higher hit rate than most seasons. Like, most of the time, I either skip the isekai, or if I do watch the isekai, it's, like, unbearable. Like, I'm borderline suicidal by the end of it. I just want it to end, kill me now. I thought that for some of the isekai this season, but there were some good ones. There was actually one really, really good one that I absolutely love to bits. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that much, at least, which is, to be fair, kind of sad considering that, most of them aren't even that good. It's just that they weren't all terrible.
They're just serviceable.
Isekai has conditioned me thus.
I would agree with that. Like, I've never done this before. So watching 19 anime inside of basically a month or so is what this was releasing in. It was a challenge, but I found myself liking things a lot more than I thought I would. Not necessarily good, just like, okay, I could see some people liking this. I will not continue, but for someone out there, for some sicko, sure, eat your isekai. Love it.
Consume the slop.
Consume the slop. But the other weird thing about this season, right, is that a lot of the shows that I think are really, really good, I can only justify continuing in manga form. Because for one reason or another, their adaptations are just visually not very good. For a lot of these. Obviously, there are some that you could argue are, bucking the trend. One in particular that I did not watch the first episode of to completion that Neon desperately wants me to, I'm sure. But, like for a lot of these, I do feel torn because it's like the script is so good, but the visuals are not very good. Rip. And so that's like, to be fair, that's a problem in every season, but with this one, I felt it more than usual, unfortunately, and that was disappointing.
Yeah, some real trash lying around in here, but it's good trash for those who love it.
Yeah, it's
there are
definitely, as far as the isekai goes, I've actually been maybe I've finally just been brain rotted. Maybe I've succumbed to the isekai Senat brain rot, as Crunchy so eloquently named the server that we're recording this in. But like, even for the ones that are not particularly too special, I came away from a bunch of them being like, you know what? If I, like, consumed literally everything, if I had, like, infinite free time, then I suppose it would not be high on the priority list, but I could envision myself watching the rest of it if I, like, if I had seen literally all other media up until this point.
These are not great recommendations, guys.
Well,
they're not great, but, normally it's like turbo trash. These ones are just uncreative, but, like, otherwise palatable. So that's a huge step up from usual.
So, how about we go ahead and see which ones are, in fact, the palatable ones and which ones are not, with the big isekai, the biggest one of them all this season, Suicide Squad isekai.
I had zero hype going into this. This was actually one of the last
You don't know
shows
anything
I
about
watched.
comic book shit, which is crazy in current year.
It's not even that I don't know anything, it's that I literally do not care. Like, to a degree that is kind of insane. Like, I don't get it. I just, like, okay. On the one hand, like, I kind of understand why Harley Quinn would be, like, an interesting, well, not interesting, but, like, fun character conceptually. She's got a crazy personality, right? She's an insane person.
Show, I will say, just as a disclaimer, the show does expect you to be familiar with these characters going into it.
I could absolutely feel that, because the first, like, I don't know, 7 minutes of the episode, something like that, are all dedicated to a, massive action sequence. And that's, like, sort of your easing up period to Harley Quinn as a character. I did not feel very eased up. I felt like I was just sort of dropped in, and I'm like, oh, I'm expected to have this baggage coming in.
Yeah, it's more like get her vibe, but don't necessarily understand what her deal is, or Joker's for that matter.
I mean,
you need a goddamn Lord of the Rings trilogy to understand the Joker's deal.
what I get, okay, I'll tell you my perspective on the show as an outsider before, Neon may be more informed, maybe Superdude is too.
Well, you're just glad Syzygy's not on the podcast right now. Otherwise, he'd talk your ear off about it. He is the comic book encyclopedia.
He would go insane. But yeah, I mean, from my understanding, Joker and Harley Quinn are like people who are rebelling against society. I don't know why. I think they think the world is a terrible place, but for what specifically they hate about it, I am not sure. I could not tell you. But they don't like society, and they're also insane and put on makeup, and they're very theatrical, laugh loudly a lot, maniacally, like guns and shit and explosives. They're very flashy, very show-offy. They want the entire world to know their message, probably. Maybe I'm speculating a bit here.
I'm biting my tongue so hard.
You're not
she
wrong.
gets Isekai.
You're not wrong so far.
I could also go off.
Okay, so I am on track. That is what I got from the first 7 minutes. That is all I know about her character. Oh, and also she's madly yandere in love with the Joker.
That's honestly her primary personality point before the other thing. Like, she's obviously seen a lot more growth since her original appearance, but her original appearance really was just, I am attached to Joker's hip. What he wants, I want. End of story.
I wouldn't go as far as to call her a yandere, but she's definitely down horrendous for the jonkler.
For the jonkler.
The joiker. Yeah.
It's joinkin' time. So what is the reality of her character? Like, do you know anything that I should know that I don't?
No.
I mean, that's the thing about this show, is that you get a better appreciation for her overall if you know her backstory going into it, because her backstory is that she was a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum, where they hold all the villains in the Batman world. She was assigned to look over the Joker when he was in prison, and he spun this tale to manipulate her into thinking that, he was the victim and society is to blame, and how society has failed her too, because she also came from a bad place, even in spite of the position that she's currently at,
and also so kindling a romance.
He was able to, and then he was able to manipulate her into becoming his almost equally psychopathic girlfriend.
Okay. I did notice the part where, like, they're flashing all the character names, and that's when they drop the bombshell that she's, like, an ex-psychiatrist, and I was like, wonder what that's about. And I guess that's what it's about.
It's one of those rare times where instead go read the manga, it's go read the comic / watch Batman the Animated Series forehead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's pretty new in terms of comic book villains and heroes. She's from the animated series.
Mm-hmm. And she is, among DC characters, she's definitely one of my favorites.
I mean, I like her design, and, okay, the thing I appreciate most about this show is that the point it's not really a point it's making, but the point of the show is watch crazy people interact with this, stereotypical setting, where we've seen Isekai done to death, and this is even a fairly unique portrayal of it. Like, it's got a bunch of floating islands, like the Aether. And so, that's cool, I guess. And the entire point is, hey, these are a bunch of psychopaths. They're deranged. Watch them, interact with this setting that you've seen 1,000 times. And that is interesting, I guess. I like the idea, and I even like the scenario to a certain degree, where it's like, they're on this plane, they've got bombs on their necks that could explode any minute. And there's like this person, forcing them to go through with this. How do we overcome her? But I also just kind of don't care.
Yeah.
Crunchy, since literally the only piece of DC media that you've consumed before this is My Adventures with Superman, were you able to piece together that the black lady in this show was the same lady from the show who ran the prison military stuff, Amanda Waller.
It makes sense now, but no, I did not piece that together.
All right, yeah. Super dude, I don't know how familiar you are with like comic book stuff, but just to give
very
you
aware.
an insight of the level of shit that we're working with Crunchy over here. Bro
One
hasn't even
DC
seen
property.
a single Marvel movie.
All right,
Hold
sure.
on, I watched like the first 30 minutes of Thor Ragnarok in class because my teacher put it on in freshman year. And that's it. That's the end of it. I don't even remember anything about the movie. I just know I watched like 30 minutes of it.
Jesus. Yeah, that's truly operating on zero. I don't know where to begin.
I mean, like, how much knowledge do you have?
It's astounding.
I grew up watching all the Batman movies. I played all the Batman Arkham games. I've watched every Suicide Squad movie, including the bad one and the good one. Not as big a fan of Superman, but I'm super a fan of Batman. So, yeah, I'm very, very comfortable and familiar with all of the bad guys that are rolling around in here. Partially because most of them end up being Batman villains, because low-key Batman has the best villains. But also, all of the characters who are here are characters in every single Suicide Squad. So, except for Clayface. So, if you've watched any of those, you know what you're getting into. But also, in the same vein, can we get someone else, please? Like,
hey man, it's James Gunn's fault. It's all thanks to the Suicide Squad.
Indeed.
Oh god, my throat. Yeah, it's all that motherfucker's fault. That movie was so good and so marketable that now we always gotta have King Shark. We always gotta have Peacemaker now.
Yep. And like, sure, I was kind of struck by how much Harley and Joker fit into the anime aesthetic. Joker's fucking piano car. Don't know if Kirsten's fine. Joker's piano car. I was like,
absolutely fine.
All right, cool. Joker's piano car. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. This is so anime. Why haven't we done this before?
The piano car was my favorite part of the episode. I was like, damn, Joker would absolutely fucking drive a car powered, sears it by playing a piano, and then floors it with the pedals at the bottom that create the echoes, which I don't know what they're actually called.
Just pedals, yeah. It makes perfect sense. But then like you start arriving at the other characters, and it's like Peacekeeper, okay, King Shark, oh, all right. Like I know why they're here. The only new addition in terms
the movie was popular.
Yep. The only new addition in terms of like this story specifically is Clayface, which I love Clayface. I'm completely cool with him being here, but I would like a little bit more. Then again, at the end of the episode, there was a little bit of a teaser, so maybe there is more to see.
Yeah, I could have sworn, they correct me if I'm wrong, because I saw Katana, but like the only person I thought I recognized was Poison Ivy.
Which would make sense. Where Harley goes, Poison Ivy follows.
I thought that I also saw Scarecrow because I saw a canister on the dude's back. I'm like, oh, okay, that must be fear toxin. That's Scarecrow.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that, but I would like that as well.
Okay, so hold on, Neon. Are these people who work with Harley Quinn or against her?
No,
well, at this point, we don't know, because usually how it works in DC and in like the Batman stuff is that usually a bunch of the villains work on their own, and they rarely ever team up unless they have like mutual benefit interest in wanting to take Batman down. As far as the concept of the Suicide Squad goes in the comics and shit, is that the setup is usually the same. Amanda Waller takes a bunch of villains, plants bombs in their neck to be like, okay, you're gonna do this insanely dangerous unethical mission for me in exchange for a reduced prison sentence and other benefits that I'll give you by the government. And if you disobey or you don't succeed, I will blow up the bombs in your neck and kill you.
Okay. So they're like unknown variables at this point. The way it was being framed, I thought they were going to be working against Harley and the rest. But I guess they're more
what was
just
confused. What was the most
chaotic
confusing is
variables.
that what confused me the most is that Katana, you know, she's got my back. I'd advise not getting killed by her. Her sword traps the souls of its victims. She was the one who captured Harley in the real world, but it looks like she's working for some person with all the other villains at the end of the episode.
Yeah, Katana's traditionally one of the goods, so we don't know what's up with Katana in this version.
I don't know what's
Also,
up with
Crunchy
anyone in this version.
And also, Crunchy, just to ease any confusion you might have, Katana was the sword-wielding girl.
Yeah, okay, I knew who she was after you said her name, but
Easy to figure
God,
out.
I don't know anything.
It's
I
impossible
get
to
the
forget
broad
about her. She's got
strokes.
your back. I'd advise not getting killed by her.
Oh my God.
Her sword traps the souls of its victims.
Stupid.
See, the best part about this is I can quote this as many times as I want. Crunchy's gonna get increasingly more confused.
I advise not getting killed by her, he says on a fucking helicopter, screaming over the... Yeah, thank you. For your context, Crunchy.
It's a 10 out of 10 lie.
For your context, her character is introduced and all of the mystery about her is gotten rid of immediately through, well, this line.
It is literally
There was
the
supposed to be a
worst-
mystery.
It's the worst, most like clumsy way to introduce a character.
And we've been spending the whole movie up until this point
Yeah.
having, like, 3-minute snippets of introducing all the characters, and then Katana walks up, and they're like, oh yeah, here's Katana, I advise not getting killed by her. Her sword traps the souls of her victim.
What movie is this? Because was this
Suicide
in the
Squad!
Because I don't remember it.
No, this is from 2016 Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, okay.
Will Smith Suicide
See,
Squad, baby.
Yeah, you gotta remember, there's two Suicide Squad movies. There's Suicide Squad, and then there's The Suicide Squad. You can't
Oh,
get
that's
them
definitely not confusing. Yeah.
One of them's great,
I
one of them's
mean-
dog shit.
As someone who has no context into these characters, like, I guess my broader point about this show would be, like, I get what it's going for. I get its personality, right? We get to watch all these, you know, goofy villains with insane powers on this mission. Now, I get the personality of this show, of just, like, we're gonna have all these wacky, insane villains doing all this wacky, insane villain stuff in this weird scenario. But I also just... I just don't find it that interesting. You know, I don't really fall for, like, dumb action or whatever. You know, on the one hand, like, I get the appeal of dumb, mindless action, and this show has the visuals to back it up. But on the other hand, I need, like, some kind of, for lack of a less pretentious word, like, intellectually interesting or thematically resonant context to back it up. Generally, or even, like, just with Bleach, where it's like, you know, you get invested in the characters before you get the big dumb action sequences. And even then, it's, like, really good at, you know, having tension and whatnot, and, you know, making it seem like the character's about to lose, and then, you know, generally ass-pulling itself out of it. But it's still interesting in a way, whereas this, like, I get it. I just don't care. That's the thing. That's what I'm really building towards. Like, it's flashy, it's well animated, like, I get what it's going for. I just don't care about what it's going for, you know?
And that might have something to do with your lack of DC. I really do think that's a lot of the buy-in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have zero context to who these characters are. So when you expect me to care about them immediately,
I was gonna
don't.
attempt to quiz you on, like, all right, aside from Harley Quinn and Joker, name all the 4 other villains that came with Harley to the fantasy world. Tell me their names right now.
Harley, Clayface, Harley,
Two Harleys.
Harley.
3. Ooh.
Hold on,
To
let
be
me
fair,
just,
she does kind of suck up the
type
screen.
in Google.
What was
Suicide
the shark's
Squad
name?
character?
What was the shark's name?
Does he have a name? Does he have, like, a
Yes.
special name?
Yep.
What other than Shark Guy?
There's an extra word you're missing.
Oh, there. Oh, he does have a
Shark is in the name,
Man
indeed.
Shark Guy.
Yeah, that is King Shark. Thank you very much.
King Shark. King Shark.
Come on, Crunchy. They
Yeah,
had special cut-ins and everything with fancy fonts for their characters.
Yeah, you think I read all of them? I mean, okay, I did, but like, come on.
In one ear,
I
out the
didn't
other.
pause to like take.
You read
to
that
soak
Harley
in
Quinn
their
was a
names.
psychiatrist, but you didn't remember the names.
I guess that's
No, I'm
that's kind of
terrible with
notable.
names.
Like you see the psychiatrist degree, and you're like, oh. Whereas the other ones, what do they even say? Anything cute? I'm not sure.
I mean, I think Deadshot was just like the assassin who never misses a shot. Like, yeah, that kind of shit.
I remember his name now, but I just
Do you remember
don't have any
what the
context
guy's name
into the
who wants
characters.
to? Do you remember the guy's name in the bag who he only talks about peace and how he wants to just make a bunch of peace? What's his
Peacemaker.
name? Okay, good.
You really
Do
spoon-fed
you know
that
that
to him.
because you remember, or because you just pulled up the list and are looking at the list?
Oh, I don't have the list up. I gave up Googling it. But no, also because Superdude literally said his name, and so it's been reinforced.
Okay, so you do have object pertinence then.
Some of it. Can you blame me for
early
forgetting
onset?
some names?
The dementia is not so early onset.
It's already coming for me. Dude, in my defense, they like mostly just showed the names in a slideshow and then that's it. So to be fair, I also watched it this morning, and so it's kind of frightening in that sense. Still. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
yeah,
I wish I had
there's
something
no...
more damning to say about the show. I feel
I mean, you're
huge
not
amount of
wrong in your
apathy.
assessment that there's a lack of themes going on, and that's because the reason for this show is not at least just on the outset is not to, you know, if there's any themes in it, it's not laid out in the first episode, but like the reason the show is made is because, hey, comic books are popular, anime is popular, Isekai is popular, let's just combine the two and tap into both markets.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things shouldn't be popular, but I digress.
I know, right? Comic books, gross.
Yeah, I know.
I hate anime.
Who would like something so nerdy? Me too. Me too. Actually, every season I like temporarily hate anime while I'm watching all the shitty isekai, and then I love anime again when I watch like a silent voice.
Four times a year, Crunchy despises anime and wants to give up it entirely.
Literally, like, true. I wish it wasn't as true as you're making it out to be, but it is literally true. I hate anime 4 times a year.
I mean, as far as Isekai goes, I like this one's leagues better than most of them, just
course.
because it has the action is fun. It may be hollow, but at least it's fun. It can be creative with shit like the piano car, and all the characters, like, it does benefit from you knowing who they are going into it. But one benefit from that is that they like kind of automatically have good chemistry because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, like, compared to most isekai, it's like no question, because most isekai doesn't have an idea. Whereas this one has an idea.
You can't accuse this one of being boring. It very much has a pulse.
You know, I felt something from it, so
Just
there
be excited
you go.
to see what it does with that.
Did you get a kick out of the of King Shark picking up one of the pig monsters and just eating them fucking whole?
I did like that. I like King Shark just for that. He's one of my favorite
King
characters
Shark
now.
has become a fan favorite since the movie a few years ago during the pandemic.
Yeah, of course, Harley Quinn is my #1 favorite just because she's hot. That's the end of my
True.
attachment to her.
So true.
I mean, hey, literally, anime Harley Quinn saved me.
It really does feel like when she's on screen, I'm like, yeah, there's where all the money went. And
Yeah, that's what's gonna sell all the merch.
she's got a real poster girl energy about her, which makes sense.
She's got big Rebecca Cyberpunk energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of already out of things to say about the show, which feels weird about the front runner of the podcast. No longer the front runner of the season.
It's the anime equivalent to me of like a big dumb blockbuster.
Yeah,
summer
exactly.
movie.
Like it doesn't have a lot of substance. It's just
Yeah,
Cool.
it's a lot of flash, but it's a fun kind of flash. It's the kind of thing I don't like to say turn your brain off, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's the fun thing. You can just be like, I don't have to think too hard about this. Like it's wearing exactly what it is. It's right as it says on the tin. It's a isekai starring the Suicide Squad. You get what you pay for.
And that's
Unless
that.
you're pirating it, and then you don't pay for it.
We must not speak
We
their
would
name.
never condone such a morally justifiable act.
Yeah, I would never.
You wouldn't download a car.
I would not.
I'm sorry. Do you have a link?
Oh, I would never have a link. Okay. Oh, wait, where's the... Okay, there's the list of shows. Unless any of you have something crazy to say about Suicide Squad Isekai, I'm ready to move on to the next show.
No, let's take a trip.
Oh yeah, I did have one question for you, Crutch, because I was curious since your DC
Okay.
knowledge is so has been established to be so limited. Comparing the first episode of My Adventures with Superman to the first episode of this show, which did you prefer?
Damn.
Oh god, because I didn't like the first episode of My Adventures with Superman. I actually didn't like it for the first, 5 episodes. I never ended up liking it. But I gave it a 5 by the end, and I liked it more
I
as
didn't
it
like
went
the first
on.
episode. Actually, I didn't like the first 5 episodes. Actually, I didn't like the whole show.
It's a piece of shit, if I'm recalling.
I mean, it got better to me as it went on, just because it got more entertaining, whereas the first 5 episodes were just super boring. But it also got, structurally worse as it went on. Maz is a weird beast, but honestly, I think I prefer this just because it looks better. It looks better, and, I innately get the appeal, even if I don't really like it. It's like a 6 out of 10 instead of a 5 out of 10. So there's something.
So you're just gonna willingly out yourself as a thing Japan kind of guy.
Yes, I am outing myself as that. Also, fuck
Bold.
you. Owl House is a 10. I can like Western things sometimes.
Name one more example.
You consume your 3 Western media per year.
Exactly. Look, I've been watching South Park. I'm a real Westaboo now.
Oh.
Alright, well, unless now anyone has any final thoughts about Suicide Squad Isekai.
Nah.
Well,
All right, then we
speaking
can-
of denying the Thing Japan allegations, Alya sucks.
You weren't a fan?
Alya sucks. This show sucks, dude.
I wouldn't say it's outright sucks. Like, I could.
What do you mean it doesn't outright suck? It sucks.
I personally will not be continuing it.
Me neither.
Because there are shows that do what it's doing but better. But as far as compared to some of the shows that I've seen on this block, I would say that there are some things that I liked about it.
As someone
Sure,
who
there are
is...
things. There are things that don't completely suck about it. There are things that only mostly suck about it.
All right, well, Crunchy, you're real eager, so why don't you take the lead on this show?
So, you might be wondering, where is a lot of this passion coming from? Because normally, I mean, I can imagine my usual self being like, hey guys, Alya is boring, bye. But no, the reason why I have fury and passion in me is because Josh spent an entire month saying, listen guys, when Alya
The audience
comes out,
doesn't
it's
know
gonna
who
be
Josh
peak
is.
fiction. I know, he's a friend of mine. You can literally deduce that
Josh,
from the way
we love
I'm
him.
talking about him. Yeah, we all love that good old guy, Josh.
Lovable rascal
Fan
Josh.
favorite
Fuck him.
character, Josh.
Fan favorite character within the canon of my real life. But no, he spent a month being just edging us, right? Alya's gonna be so good, you guys. The source material is really great. It's actually way deeper than you'd think it is. And then you watch it, and it's it's not deep.
I can see. I can see where he's coming from on that, though.
I can't.
If you're a
because
certain
I
sicko,
got to the scene.
You go ahead.
I got to the scene where she was saying, "But Baka, don't Like, just saying generic tsundere stuff, but in Russian. And I was like, oh, that's why it's deep. She's a generic tsundere, but she says it in Russian, guys. It's so different. She says the thing in a different language.
If you're a certain anime fan who's pulled forward by their dick, I can see this show being for you. But yeah, elsewise, nah, not really.
Crunchy, I can't believe that you would turn on the show being the #1 incest fan that I know.
The #1.
Oh boy.
Am I really #1?
Look out for part 2, everybody.
Come on. Part 2. Listen. I know this guy. Okay, first of all, this guy's little sister. Is it his little sister? I'm actually not clear on that.
Yes, it is.
Okay, little sister. But this guy's little sister doesn't act like a little sister. It acts like what she acts like how a little sister fetishist would write a little sister. It does not feel it doesn't feel like a real sibling bond. And maybe it's just because it's okay, so I realized with this show, I mean, I've realized it for a while, but this show really hammered home to me that there is a specific style of light novel writing that I cannot stand, and this show falls into it, where every character speaks in a way that doesn't quite feel like how a real person would speak. And if you want like the absolute extreme of this, it's like Monogatari, except that's actually good because it goes all in on it. You know, every character just speaks like Nisio brain vomiting on you. But with this, it like, just every line of dialogue feels like a little off. Like if you were actually saying that to someone in real life, they wouldn't speak that way. It's hard to really get across without specific examples, but it feels off. And you could chalk it up to, hey, it's translated media, you know? Like, maybe it's the translation's fault, and maybe it is. But I notice it a lot with light novel adaptations, and I don't notice it with other media made in Japan that is translated. So I can only reasonably deduce that it is something about the writing of light novels, specifically, that is like this. But these adaptations also tend to have really bad production values and really flat directing. And what you get from that is a show that feels artificial, where nothing quite lines up with how you'd expect it to be in reality, and not in a stylized way or a fun way, in just kind of a weird way where you don't really know what it's going for. And so when I see this guy's little sister, like, you know, deliberately trying to make this other girl jealous, like, oh, Alya, you know, I'm this guy's childhood friend, I'm so close to him. Oh, you know, I love legs on women. Legs are lit. I have this screenshotted because I hated it. You know, you go up from the plump thighs up top to the dainty down below. And I'm like, no sister would speak to their brother like that. And like, you could make it work. I could see a version of this character that I can slot into my understanding of reality. But because of the way this show is presented and how everything feels so artificial to begin with, it has not won me over. I don't believe this character. This feels like a caricature instead of a character. You know, it feels like, you want to know what it is? It's that this author very clearly wants you to self-insert into it. And with that nagging feeling, nothing feels real. And I hate that about this show. I hate this show. It's really bad.
Yeah, I have a note here. It's male disaster otaku gets chicks by being a male disaster. And that was kind of my synopsis of this, minus the Russian thing.
Accurate.
Yeah, like...
You
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'll just be quick about it then. The only part of the show that I enjoyed was I did kind of enjoy some of the dynamic between the main guy and Alya. I thought they, in the first half of the episode, I thought they played off each other real well. I kind of like the bit of the tease they got going on. Like, the dude pulls out his phone, and Alya's like, "You can't pull out your phone during school." And he says, "It's an emergency." I gotta pull the triple S rare on my gotcha game.
Mm-hmm.
And she confiscates the phone. Uh,
Now, what happened in the second
I also-
half that turned you off, though?
well, there were also
Gee, I
things like,
wonder.
the dude falls asleep in class, and he thinks she's helping her out by tapping on the answer of the question. Only she embarrasses him by. No, I wasn't pointing at the answer, retard. I was pointing at the question. Yeah, you maybe
That's
should be
the one
paying
part
more
I liked.
attention.
That part was good. Everything else was bad.
Yeah, and it's I'm not made of stone. I find it cute that this dude was able to understand Russian, and the whole conceit of the show is that because Alya is Russian, and so will sometimes because she'll think no one else understands her when she speaks Russian, so she'll say she'll get the freedom of being able to say whatever she wants. She could say all of the radical political opinions and racial slurs that she wants, and no one would know but her boy toy. But because he knows Russian and is able to understand her, he knows that she probably has a thing for him, but can't do anything about it because he's the male otaku failure, as Superdude put it. What turned me off from the show was when they took that pretty fun chemistry, and then they dove right into weirdo fetishist territory.
Yeah. Like, you got the feet, and then they escalate, and then the panty shot, and it's like, sure, yeah, why not all of these things? I thought we were having fun.
This is a scene from someone who watched, like, the Toradora OP and thought that shot of Taiga putting on her stock, it, like, changed them as a person. It irreparably warped them. They are now fundamentally... Their brain chemistry has been rearranged, and so they need to put it in their show. Except then they put it in, like, really badly. That's what it feels like. This is my headcanon for why this scene is in the show. Tell me I'm wrong, I'm not.
Yeah, like what a normal human thing for a person to be like, hey, my male friend as a girl, why don't you put on my socks for me? Isn't this a reward? Won't you get off to this, you perv?
And these aren't just socks.
No one
like, you have to
acts
go
like
most of
this.
the way up them to like.
And then in typical anime fashion, she's the one who gets all embarrassed when she's the one who literally asked for it, and then oh no, he accidentally pulled it on the hem of the sock too hard and grazed her pussy.
Uh-oh.
A comedy of errors.
See? Wow, who could have seen that coming? The girl, apparently.
That she kicks him, she runs away, he chases her down. Normal human behavior, because this is a show for normal humans.
Mm-hmm.
There's that meme where it's like in Russia, or no, like in America, you put toast in the toaster, in Russia, the toast toasts you, or something like that. Just the inverse of the statements. But this show is like, in Japan, the tsundere kicks the guy in the face. In Russia, the tsundere kicks the guy in the face, but then she's gonna, like, say he's cute in Russian. The end. It's, like, literally that meme, but if there was no joke. It's the same thing both times. This show is not revolutionary.
Yeah, also crunchy, because I'm surprised you haven't brought it up already, given the studio making it and its art style.
Oh yeah, I was about to bring that up. Like, I was trying to find a way to bring it up. Doga Koba made this. Doga Kobo. Like,
yeah, and would not be surprised if this is the Shikimori staff, because it looks like someone took Shikimori and was like, hey, all these like pretty colors that make all our character designs pop? What if we like washed it out? Like, just straight, we took a fucking power washer to it, just went whoosh, all the colors gone, no colors. It's all beige, baby.
True.
Why would you do this, Doga Kobo? I liked you. You used to have good visuals, and now you have, well, you make Oshinoko, so that looks good, but then you also make this. Oh no, at some point
They ran out of
Doga
color money.
Kobo, yeah, like, because the animation industry, I need to go on this rant like at least once a podcast, because anime is made in horrible, unethical conditions, right?
Yes.
And it's only been getting worse. And so at one point, Dogakobo had the time and resources to make shows that popped. But then I don't know what happened. There was maybe some new exec, maybe, the turning tides of the anime industry just got to them. But now they realize, okay, we need to put out shows even more quickly than before. And so they just go crazy, just cranking them out in like a year. And this is what you get when you crank a show out in like a single year, which is almost certainly how long it took to make this, i.e. barely any time in terms of anime timeline.
Well, you know
even
what?
Oshinoko didn't always have the best animation. When it's like, come on, this
maybe
is a huge
Katakawa
manga,
money
you should
will
go
save
all
them
out.
now.
And also,
I
like,
doubt it.
what are they
I
working
doubt it.
with though? Right? Like, it was a light novel. How much color was in it to begin with? They might be working with some. I don't want to say crap, but
Well, see, this would inherently read better as a novel, just because you wouldn't have to look at it, and also because you get more context into the characters. Maybe like this, I'm sure the novel is better. I'm also sure it's bad, but I'm sure it's better. Yeah, this huge disappointment. I hate this show. It's bad.
Well, Crunchy, since I know you have no interest in continuing, you'll be happy to know at least that in episode 2, the little sister character does in fact sit on top of the main character in his bed to try to wake him up. There is a shot where she leans forward and you can see her tiny cleavage.
oh, thank God.
And there's another episode where she's reading an incest manga and then rants to her brother that incest is only good when it's blood related. When they're not blood related, that's pussy shit. It's like trying to have your cake and eat it
What
too.
a nightmare.
I can't wait for the incest supercut of Alya-san.
I can wait.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
that's my version of the show. That's what I'll watch, and then nothing else.
Yeah, I do not care for this show at all. But I will ask that you let me have this next one, cause I got a bone to pick with 2.5 Dimensional Seduction.
Mhm.
I think we're gonna have the same opinion and point to make about this show, which is well, there's a few things, but also
historically
Right, go
on the podcast, I don't get mad very often. It takes a lot for a show to
Bad
like
start.
actually induce when I watch a bad show, it takes a lot to induce like anger in me, because the only time I'll feel that I'm angry while watching something is when I feel like I'm directly being insulted, like my intelligence is being insulted and my time is being wasted, or in this
it's
show's
Rent a
case,
Girlfriends.
or that, or in this show's case, where I'm my people, my homies are being called out and misrepresented. This show is blackface for otaku.
Ugh.
God, that's a sentence if there ever was one.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not sure if I agree, but go on.
Are you
I
referring
we
to
may
his?
not have the same point after all.
Are you referring
let me
to his
paint a picture
insane
for you.
misogyny? Or
let me paint. Yeah. So our main character, one of the first things that we're introduced to him is by him saying, "I have zero interest in 3D girls," and he says it with his whole chest, unironically. And
Terrible.
to his
wait a minute, check my notes.
let's be charitable. To his credit, his mom ran out on him as a child, and he got rejected by every girl he ever asked out. So
Wasn't it
naturally,
one? I think he said like
yeah, he
one
asked out
person.
one girl,
Yeah.
and then the other girls in his class just call him gross because he is gross.
because he is
but,
gross.
it's clearly their fault, not his. It can't possibly be anything wrong with
I don't
him.
need to improve.
So self accountability. What's that?
Oh god,
so
you're
after
getting to
all
the
of
heart
that-
of why this show is so bad.
Yeah, so after all of that, my boy hops on that misogyny grind set, and he's like, fuck 3D girls, they ain't for me, it's all about the 2D bitches. I got my waifu, I'm gonna idolize her, I'm gonna set up in my little club room at school where anyone could hypothetically walk in, all these erotic anime figures of her, all these posters of her. I'm idolizing this fictional character unironically. Like, no, not even as a joke, of being like, oh, there are people who will collect, erotic figures and posters and artwork of a character that they enjoy, but they do it with the notion that they are just appreciating the character. They like them, but they understand that they're not real. I can attest to that as someone who does it themselves. I have several posters of Jury Street Fighter up on my wall.
The correct answer.
And yeah, one of them is of her at the gym doing a deadlift. So just to paint a picture, but I can establish that, she's not real. I'm just admiring her. This dude is just straight up like, nope, fuck 3D girls. They ain't for me. I don't got time for that shit. Actual human interaction, a partnership that can last a lifetime, not interested. I'm going to give my love to this fictional character who cannot reciprocate my feelings back, because that is the healthy thing to do. And then what is this guy blessed with? A girl, a beautiful little junior who walks into his manga club wanting to join, and he's like, a 3D girl can't possibly be into this shit. It's all like weirdo stuff. A normo like her could never understand. But as it turns out, she's like arguably more into this character than he is.
Inconceivable.
And wants to not only is she not grossed out by his obsession with her, unhealthy obsession with this fake character, and she is equally as obsessed, but this beautiful girl wants to cosplay as this character, but not just any normal cosplay. She wants to compose one of those, and this is a real thing because I've actually seen these at cons, even here in America. Cosplay books and DVDs of her in erotic cosplay of this character, just to
high schooler, by the way.
Yeah, high schooler, by the way.
Yep. She just got there, right? Like, she's a freshman.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, she's a freshman, straight up freshman. There's a point in the show where she goes to a softcore event, and the staff there and the people working there are like, hey, little missy,
You're a child.
This is a 16+ event, so we're gonna have to ask you to leave. Yeah, come back when you're a little older, K-champ. That doesn't deter her, though. That inspires her to be like, wow, all these girls are just like so confident in their bodies and their sexuality that they're able to wear all this erotic revealing stuff in public. And, like, established fans and viewers of the podcast will know I'm no prude. I have gone to bat for my dress-up darling several times, saying that no, it's not horny incel bait. It has themes, it has well-written characters, it has a genuinely adorable and romance that you want to root for. This show is what people accuse my dress-up darling of being like. This is the horny incel wish fulfillment cuck bait. Well, maybe I threw cuck in there just to be mean, but this is the kind of incel garbage that people conflate my dress-up darling with, and it makes me angry that this is the kind of show that like is written by otaku for otaku, right? Because what is the audience for this kind of thing? Oh, I can imagine, like, I'm imagining the kind of guy who would read this be like, oh, I wish a hot erotic cosplaying GF would fall into my lap like this. It hurts me. It actively hurts me.
What's funny, like,
Mom, I want dress-up darling, but we already have dress-up darling at home. The dress-up darling at home.
Yeah, what sucks is that I actually really like the girl's design. I think she's mad cute.
She's adorable, yeah.
It's just being wasted.
I actually looked into this because, it is a cosplay show, and I was like, does this have anything to do with Dress Up Darling? And I looked, and this started being written, like, within the year of Dress Up Darling coming out. So I do think that this is
you don't
in
say.
Conversation with Dress Up.
See,
I wonder if this could be a case of missing the forest for the trees and not understanding and trying to copy without understanding.
So this okay, so the main problem with this show is that its premise is self-contradictory. Because, okay, so think about it like this, right? As Neon said, we've got this protagonist who don't like women, right? He's a bit of a bit of a sexist for
A bit?
reasons that would be a bit. Okay, a lot of one. For reasons that would be understandable if the show put any emphasis on his backstory whatsoever. It's like teenage.
What are you talking
edginess.
about?
It's
His
like-
mom ran out on him as a child. He got rejected once, and now he hates all
But the show
women.
puts
Yeah, but we
no
cruise right
emphasis
through
on
that.
it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, like that,
It's not
that can be
about.
so
We're
fleshed
not
out.
here for backstory, Crunchy. We're here to look at some high school girls' titties.
Okay, but that gets to the issue because the hypothetical point of this show, I'm putting a lot of emphasis on hypothetical. If someone pitched me this premise, right? All right, here's how it'd go. Okay, I want to write this show about this sexist guy who like holes up in his club room and obsesses over fictional women because they can't hurt him and because in his eyes they're perfect, and then he meets this girl that makes him realize that girls ain't so bad. So I'm like, okay, that's like not terrible. Except then you make the girl literally not only like they're not even subtle about it. She is literally like an idealized girl who, is into all the same stuff as you, into erotic stuff, but also literally dresses up as the idealized girl within
and
canon.
acts like him. Literally calls him after the main character and to give him like the ideal, like, hey, this fake girl that you worshipped is now like, she's like real now. Ain't that what you always
Literally-
wanted? Isn't that a healthy thing to have happen to you?
But what makes this ironic is that this is a show. So the person watching this show is like literally him in the show. The target audience anyway, of it, being like, oh, she's so perfect. This girl's an angel. She's beautiful and everything. And it's like, this show has no self-awareness. You have created the same scenario that this guy is in. Like, you are helping to perpetuate that. Because that would be, presumably the target audience. Like, I don't know. I mean, the only other people who are watching this show are people with either nothing better to do or who just have no standards. This is
Incels.
for self-insertion.
Yes,
And so
exactly.
it's dude, I'm imagining the good version of this show where it's like, oh, here's the other thing.
The
This
good
made me
version of
mad.
the show is my dress up darling.
Well, there can be a good version of this show that touches on different themes than Dress Up Darling, right? Because in Dress Up Darling, the guy wasn't sexist. He was just someone who beat up on himself a lot and, didn't have confidence in himself when he should have had more of it. And it's about, how weirdos sticking together and being proud of your hobbies and whatnot, Dress Up Darling is a beautiful show in its themes, but this show could have been, it's got a sexist main character. That's an interesting idea. There's a lot to explore there, but this show has no self-awareness. But the other thing that made me mad is that the girl, like, there's a line where she says, like, yeah, I self-insert into, like, these beautiful goddesses in anime. And I'm like, okay, so she's, like, not completely confident in herself, And in a good show, that would be like, oh, they're getting to something. Like, both of these people self-insert into anime in order to make up for things that are missing in their real life. You could have, like, this,
Yeah,
intricate
I'm not very confident in myself,
symbolism.
so I self-insert into these fake characters. Now, anyways, let me undress in front of you, like, having met you
That's
for
the
only, like,
thing.
30 minutes.
This show has no self-awareness, because that right there is such an interesting idea. Like, I would love to write a story with that aspect of the premise. Like, that's interesting, that's good, I like that. You're getting to something.
And yet,
But then this show, it at every point it could be good, it is not. It just insistently does not do the good things and instead does the bad things.
it's too interested in the horny stuff to get to any interesting writing or themes. It's just, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have someone who, I don't know, pretends to not be themselves and be that lady?
The incels will be happy to know that I did check out the manga just to be like, all right, because I had someone in Crunchy's server being like, no, dude, the show is actually good. You gotta check out the manga. It's like a lot more refined. And I skimmed the first 3
Refined.
chapters. I did not pay much attention. I just skimmed it. because I already watched the first episode to its completion, and I wanted to blow my brains out. And I watched. The only thing that the manga has over the anime is that it is the better way to consume it because it's prettier looking. The anime doesn't look that good, and it also has titties. So if you wanted this show but also with nudity, there you go, you weirdo. But yeah, no, it's like there's nothing deeper about the manga. Like it's the same story. And the reason I call it blackface for otaku is because it's taking like the negative stereotype of an otaku, someone who is like, a social outcast, can't get no bitches, obsesses over fake things and has no time for real things, and then is rewarding this behavior by blessing it with like literal like the ultimate otaku wish fulfillment. You get your girlfriend walks into your life, has literally all your same interests to the exact same degree, and wants to fulfill all like any erotic or romantic fulfillments about your hobby that you could possibly have. It's so pandering, and like like the fact that knowing that if I know anyone who would enjoys the show like straight up, I would be sorry for them. I'd be like, what happened to you in your life that caused you to go so wrong, to lead you down this road?
Well, you see,
I wouldn't go.
My mother left me, and one girl told me no once.
You know what? Fair point. I take it back. You have my full sympathy.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far, because I know there are people out there who will just watch anything. But that's also something I feel sorry for in itself to a certain degree.
Well, it's
like,
also, again, compounded
good.
by the better version of this show that people fucking like get wrong all the time about, the merits of My Dress Up Darling. So, like, if you want to direct any venom towards that show, direct it towards this. This one is what you're accusing M-Dud of being like.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's like the perfect storm of everything I hate, like condensed into one show.
I wish it was self-aware. I wish there was a version of this show that, isn't just Dress Up Darling, but that like can explore different themes than it, that has self-awareness. But like this show, it ain't it. That's it. It's a shame. That's about
I've
all
said
I have
my
to
piece.
say.
Yep.
Yeah, I've said my piece. The show can suck a dick, and so can anyone who likes it. I will actively bully anyone I know who straight up enjoys the show. This one deserves to be anti-gate kept. We need this is why we need to bring back bullying.
Goddamn.
Okay, live your
But
truth.
is Shoshimin Series why we need to bring back bullying?
No, Shoshimin Series is why we need to bring back good anime, because this might be the best show of the season so far.
Yeah, this rocks.
Wow. Yeah, so I only got, admittedly, 7 minutes into the episode, because it was the worst thing, because I was looking forward to this show, because I heard it, I'm pretty sure it's from the Hyoka author. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's from,
all right.
It's a novel adaptation from the 2000s.
Yeah, so I was excited for this show, and then I saw like the wall of seasonal names, and I just didn't really register that was the show, because I was not looking at like every name actively. So I missed out on this, and then like, dude, at like 20 minutes to recording, I realized, oh wait, this is that show, and I haven't seen it. Oh no. And so I got 7 minutes in.
So yeah, fans of the podcast will know that we, Crunchy and I, like to toss around, oh, this show is so neon coded, or this show is so crunchy coded, when we talk about shows that we think the other would enjoy, or like are right up the other's alley. Bro, this show invented crunchy coding. This whole time I was watching it, I was like, dude, like this is what Crunchy would write if he could make an anime. This is exactly what he would make.
Well, maybe something later in the episode will put that into context for me.
Well,
like,
yeah,
actually.
Sorry.
Like, no, you're fine. But Weirdly, I actually thought that the first 7 like, okay, so for the first 7 minutes of the episode, like, there are things it does that I like, but I actually have kind of a bone to pick with the directing. And
Are
here's
you
why.
not a
It's
fan of the
because
letterboxing?
I don't mind the letterboxing, right? Like, but you know what? I think the letterboxing kind of damned it in a way. Because when I see letterboxing, I'm like, okay, this director is getting spicy with us here. This director is trying stuff. But it seems to be okay. So the methodology behind it seems to be that they're shooting it as if it were live action, and so there are shots that it will continually cut between, as if there is a physical camera placed there, and it cuts back and forth between those shots, but in a way that's oddly repetitive. I found. Where I was like, you know, this is anime, right? Like, you can vary the camera. I mean, even in live action, you can
Crunchy,
choose
I'm
more
telling you
shots
right
than
now,
this.
I can already tell this criticism is null and void because you did not finish the episode.
Yeah.
Direction gets
There is
crazy.
a
You need to
thematic.
keep going.
Okay, so there is a theme. Is there a thematic reason for that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, it's
Bro,
gonna be huge.
I'm telling
okay.
you.
Major
I've known you this
recontextualization.
long. Believe me when I say you would adore. If you watch the whole episode, you'd be like, you would not stop glazing the show. You'd get on Cum 4K the way you'd be glazing it.
All right.
Okay, lay it on me.
All right, so out of curiosity, though, did any of y'all have seen Hyoka before?
No.
No.
I've only seen the first episode of Hyoka, and that was way back when, and I liked it. But I just never got around to watching the rest of it. So what Shoshimin series is about is these two characters, Jogro and Osanai, who it's implied by others around them that because they see him constantly hanging out, and the girl hangs like off the guy, like, will even hide behind him at times, because she's socially awkward and shy, that they're going out. They're not really they don't perceive that they're dating. They just perceive that they're friends. But they're also not against. They're also aware of that, and they're not like against the idea that they could be dating. They just haven't put a label on it. So like that dynamic is already interesting by itself, because it's not like it's a will they won't they thing. Like, oh, is this tsundere gonna get with this aloof main guy? So that's already fun right off the bat. And second, like Hyoka, this is a mystery show where it's low stakes at first because they're just high schoolers, and there's that your typical high school setting. The goal of the first episode is to find a girl's missing book bag, because she left it somewhere and it got stolen. So they're just trying to figure out where it could be. And so what the show excels in is that it's taking this, on paper, you say, oh, a high school girl lost her book bag. Students trying to run around trying to find it. That doesn't sound too exciting by itself or too engaging, but they make it engaging because this dude is actually high school Sherlock Holmes and is able to pick up on people's like discrepancies between like the things about their appearance that is out of the norm, out of the ordinary, and is able to deductively dictate of where, or deduce where is going to like getting into the minds of people and being like, okay, if I'm someone trying to steal this girl's book bag, what could be the reasons that a high schooler, because prime suspect's got to be a high schooler, as we are in high school. Why would a high schooler steal another girl's book bag? Because it's not too expensive. There's not too much. There wasn't anything of monetary value in there. It's just a bunch of pens and a planner and shit. So in one of the cool things in the direction that also makes the show, I was like, okay, I'm down with this. The way the dude's headspace works is that he envisions himself. This is all non-diegetic. He envisions himself as the suspect, and he recreates his actions in his head. He wears the clothes of the suspect, and then recreates his actions and like acts it out as if he were the one doing them inside his head. So that's really interesting and entertaining by itself. But then on top of that, it's also there's a second layer that was able to be built up throughout the episode. That there's also a pseudo time limit on this investigation. That because while all this is going on, the best friend character, and I hate Crunchy, I hate to do this to you, but I have to get my point across. I have to spoil what happens in this episode. You remember that she was talking about those strawberry tarts that were limited time at the store, right?
Yeah, I did get that
Okay.
far.
Those lovely tarts.
Okay. I hate to do this to you because
Should I just deafen and let you guys go at it?
You honestly, you might want to.
In the
Because
tarts
You know
as
what?
a gun.
I'm gonna deafen. You can like type in chat when you're done discussing this because
Okay,
you got me
I'll
intrigued.
I'll let you know. Okay, I'll let you know. So
All
this is for
right.
the audience benefit. So
Yeah,
go ahead and
BRB
deafen
for
right
like
now.
10 minutes.
Okay, well, it won't be that long. So, as you know, Superdude, because you watched the episode,
Mhm.
they're building up the whole thing this whole time of this girl wants to go to this bakery because they have limited time seasonal strawberry tarts that they only do like one time in the spring, once a year, and she only barely got some last year, and she wants to share them with her best friend Jogoro together.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And she's been looking forward to it all day, and they were gonna go, but now the whole thing with the missing book bag comes up. So he's like, okay, like, will you wait for me? And she's like, she's such a good friend. She doesn't throw a fit at all. She's willing to sit there and wait for him to, like, okay, we may be late, we might not be able to get any, but as long as you don't take too long, my friend, we can go. And she's so patient. She's such a good girl. And they're both like, you can understand why they like each other because their mannerisms and idiosyncrasies cause them to be like perceived as unordinary, and their goal is in high school they want to become more ordinary. They don't want to stand out as much because they're aware of, for whatever, it's not explained completely why yet, but they know they're not exactly normal and they want to try to be normal.
Mhm.
And so they just want to do normal things. But main boy can't help but be Sherlock Jr. over here. Is able to deduce that one of the guys looking for the book bag was in fact the one who stole the book bag because he was planting a love note confession in there, and he got cold feet at the last second and stole it to take it back out, but he had to end up hiding it.
Mhm.
And through a bunch of clues that he picks up on, he's able to deduce that. So they have a little heart-to-heart with the dude. They're able to, talk him into giving the bag back, and then they go to the cafe. They get their little treats, and like they talk about, why they took the time out to help them. All that stuff. It's like all while the insane direction of like them, like insane different, like rapid fire cuts of them, probably non-diegetically, but also could be taken literally, like they're walking across the water, they're biking down the bridge, like all like almost Monogatari-esque, which is another reason why Crunchy would adore it, because he will suck off Monogatari any chance he gets. And all that, only to lead up to the most heartbreaking ending of any show this season, where Jogoro overhears a conversation with some other high school delinquents about, hey, we're meeting up at a time in 10 minutes. You gotta be there, man. And he's like, but I don't have a bike. I lost my bike. And what do you know? The two main characters also came in on a bike.
Uh-oh.
So I wonder if that has anything to do with it. That has to do with anything. And then this motherfucker throws off the tarts that were on the bike that the girl was waiting so patiently for, low-key worrying that she might not get a chance to see him once-a-year tarts. And he makes off with their bike, steals it, and the episode ends with the shot of the girl just not
her
reacting
face.
outside of a surprised look.
Just her fucking
like
face.
just staring at it.
That was my whole day. That was everything to
And
me.
everything that like my whole life has been leading to this moment, and it's been wasted by this bastard. Like I looked down in the comments of the episode on the Minecraft server that I watched this on, obviously as a good little boy. And even everyone in the comments was like, I want this motherfucker's head on a pike.
Escalate immediately. Second episode is murder. Yeah, this show was wild. The visual cuts, metaphorical cuts talking about, like, because they're talking about dating while they're riding the bike, which I assume the bike is the real thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And they're talking about dating, and then he goes like, "No, I wouldn't go that far." And then we immediately cut to multiple different cuts of them, like, becoming more and more distant from each other. And it's like, well, yeah.
But also getting closer together.
Yep.
Like the dude's following after her in the water.
Yep. It's like, whoa.
Well, I can't believe the
Visuals?
strawberry was poisonous that entire time and she used it to murder someone.
Each of the strawberries is actually a diamond. And there was a heist. And
That's
everything that
crazy,
you
dude.
everything that you think could have happened to a Crunchy is actually what happens to it is way worse.
What? Seriously? Okay.
Unironically,
you have me intrigued.
it being poisonous would have been, and she killed the main as a ploy is not as tragic as what actually happens.
Okay, I am hooked. I will try and watch this before the next block of episodes so that I can properly rank
Your
it.
homework, motherfucker, is to watch it immediately after we're done recording.
That won't happen. I have work to do.
damn.
Well, shit. Wait. What time do you work?
After
again?
work.
I don't have like literal work. I just want to work on videos.
Okay. I thought you had to go somewhere after the podcast.
Don't we all?
Dude, you gotta make time. You're 7 minutes in already, motherfucker. You make time. You have 14 more minutes to spare.
It's a good show, though.
All right, maybe.
For what? Okay, Superdude. Of everything that we've seen in this block for the season so far, would you say this is the best first episode of the season?
Comparing to Alya 2.5 and Suicide Squad Isekai, yes.
Compared to everything that's in this block.
Everything, also maybe yes.
Yeah, so Crunchy, we're both saying that this might be show of the season. So you
I will
you know
get
what you
to it
must
before
do.
the next episode of the podcast. Okay.
You'll get to it by the end of
I
the
will-
day, you son of a bitch.
Maybe. Don't
I need
count on it.
You're already 7
Shoshimin
minutes
on
in,
my
commit.
desk by midnight.
I want a 5-page MLA formatted essay.
Need pictures of Ossan.
Properly citing each scene of the episode with like yeah, MLA citation. There we go.
Thank God.
I mean,
Well,
hey,
I
at
guess
least it's not Isekai Senat brain rot.
Yeah,
We're getting there.
I guess conversation about the show will have to end here a little prematurely because we don't want to go into spoilers and ruin it for Crunchy.
Mhm.
But literally, you will. If you somehow don't come away with it being like, I need to watch every single episode of this show now, then I'll be like, I'll never be able to truly understand your taste. Then.
All right, you have piqued my interest. Or maybe
this
I'll
also
end up
isn't a
hating
spoiler.
it.
This is there is a Monogatari-esque sequence in this episode.
Oh, well, now I'm watching it immediately. Monogatari, Ayo, Monogatari mentions. I still haven't watched the actual Monogatari this season. That might actually take higher priority.
All right, well, you can get to that when you get to it. But you know, will it take even more higher priority than Senpai is an Otokonoko? I can't fucking say
Let's try it again.
Otokonoko.
I adored this.
I wish this show had the adaptation it deserved. Because I
have you
love
read
the
this
script.
manga?
No, I have not read the manga. But
Okay.
the script, so good. I love the script. The problem is that it's from Project Number 9. And if you know anything about Project Number 9, is that, do they make good animation? 9. That's
I
what
was
it stands
noticing.
for.
Yeah, anytime there was like anything resembling action, it would immediately break to I don't know what to call
This
it.
is-
Children drawings.
I think this is the worst directed show of the entire season.
That's a huge claim.
we got a lot of isekai
What else would
that
you
we're going
describe
through.
a show that breaks between, we'll call it normal and chibi literally every other shot.
See,
It is distracting.
It
Yeah.
is distracting. I'll give you that. Because, okay, so this show is directed, I'm pretty sure his name is Shinsuke Yanagi, and he is like the Project Number 9 director.
Who let
He
bro
also
cook?
sucks.
Never let him in the kitchen again.
He is terrible at directing. He is, like, by far my least favorite director ever, just because he's the only one that I have seen enough of his shows that are this poorly directed to, like, have his name on the back of my mind. And so when I saw that this was a Project Number 9 show, I was like, okay, it's the Tomazaki director. And Tomazaki, you know, bless its heart. I love that show. It's directed horribly. It's very boring to look at. Like, even Tomazaki had better directing than this because it at least had a few, like, soulful moments.
Because it had a consistent art style.
Yeah, I mean, I even like the art style. It's not the director's doing. It's it's pretty sure the artist's name is Fly. That's like their pen name. But, you know, it's the character
Is this
designer
like manga
who did it.
accurate? Does the manga also do this frequently?
I have no idea.
I'm
But
looking right now.
see,
This
in a
is
manga though, it'd make more sense at the very least, because you know in manga like they do that frequently. You know, you have like the little panel in the corner of the page or whatever, like hidden among bigger ones. It makes sense to do there. And honestly, like there was a part of me that was like, okay, my boy Shinsuke clearly wants to make a show with like a chibi art style. Just make it in a chibi art style. And like, sure, it's not ideal. It doesn't look particularly great because it's Project Number 9. But if they just committed to it, I would at least be able to defend it as a creative choice. But then you have to see like the actual show intercut between it, which looks worse than the chibi art style. Neither of them look particularly good. Actually, what presses me is that there is a shot. I have it screenshotted somewhere, right? So, like, a lot of the chibi shots do look good. There's this one where it's, like, it almost looks like, you know, a normal anime, but it's got, like, the thick lines, and I was like, just make the show look like that! Like, why not? You know, you're not making it better by intercutting, like, quote-unquote real anime footage in between it. Like, just commit! Commit to the bit, man! Like, you clearly want to make this a chibi show. So just do it. Like, the manga would still be the ideal way to consume the source material. Or, well, the story, period. But...
yeah. I don't know if, like, turning it into a chibi show would be... Because of what they're trying to do here with the writing, specifically. It's like, these characters are going to be crying a lot. And I don't know how that would land in chibi.
Well, there's the one shot, like I said, with the thicker lines. Like, I think they could pull it off in that specific style, where it was like the thicker lines, but then it occasionally switches to chibi. It would smooth the transition, but you still get, you know, the upsides of having a normal style, at least kind of a normal one. And like, it's not gonna look good either way. And so why not just commit? Like, why not do the more defensible decision? Now, I'll still read the manga instead, but at least, you know, I could have, like, some respect for it. But, like, it's not the worst directed show of the season. I disagree with that, right? Because at the end of the day, the chibi shots are a reaction image factory. I took so many screenshots. It looks cute. But, like...
I don't think they look... in a vacuum, they don't look bad. It's just that when they do it so frequently...
hard, yeah.
It's clashing, and I can't think of another show that fucked up their direction by doing something that stupid. So I kind of have to slap it with the worst direction label.
I disagree just because it's more interesting than... You know what? I prefer that it looks like this than being that one, like, Project Number 9 generic style the entire time. Because even though... because even though it clashes horribly, it's at least a pulse. It's more of a pulse than I usually feel from this guy's shows. And it looks better than the generic isekai. Also, Superdude is putting in chat that the manga does in fact do this.
Yeah.
So it is a carryover.
Alright, well then it's
like
a shit
I said,
adaptation then.
Yeah, because like like I said, in a manga, this is fine. I can see this working in a manga. I'm imagining right now the tiny panel with the chibi characters, and I'm like, yeah, makes sense. You got me. Like that works. But in an anime, it clashes hard.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
everything about the script
at
is
least
really
the piano
good.
score is nice. I wasn't that
Dude.
blown away by the script.
Really?
Wow. Wow.
That's crazy.
I didn't.
Dude.
I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't think it was special.
Okay. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Out of all the shows this block, right? This is a bit of a spoiler. And granted, I have not seen all of Shoshimin, so that might change. But putting Shoshimin aside, this is my favorite show of the block. I loved the script to bits.
Yes.
I love everything it's building towards.
Did you say
I love
this
what it
has the
stands
best
for.
writing of everything in this block?
Yeah. Is there something that like obviously beats it out?
I mean, I
Maybe it's
Well,
something I didn't watch.
You said
Aside
aside
from
from Shoshimin series, so
Yeah.
I'll grant you that. But let me look through the. I could think of a couple shows that were better.
I mean, I
Okay,
absolutely loved
there's
this
one
writing.
that challenges it, but it's like a completely different style of writing, and so they're kind of hard to compare. But she's not completely different. But what makes what I think makes this show so well written is that I love all the characters immediately. Like I get what the dynamic is, and I like they're funny, they're charming. There's a lot of wit to the humor. Like it's okay. This I need to get the Annie list page up so that I can actually get the names right, because I'm terrible with names, and also because this was one of the first shows I watched, so it's a bit back there in my memory. But the girl with the black hair, she is a bisexual menace, dude. She could destroy the entire world with her unending lust, yet she, on a daily basis, chooses not to. She's so funny.
I do
She's
like
a
how
freak.
her whole thing is that she's the living embodiment of the vine that goes, "I love you, bitch. I never go stop loving you,
Bitch.
bitch."
Okay, her name is Saki. Aoi Saki. And she, like, every line that comes out of her mouth is just pure gold. And like all the adorable expressions she makes, dude, I have so many screenshots. Like dude, like the screenshot, I'm looking at them right now. Like she looks at the handkerchief that he's holding and is like, oh, I want to be that handkerchief. And then she keeps one of okay, so at the beginning of the episode, like her nose starts bleeding because, you know, that's how we show attraction in manga series.
Horny
because
attraction.
she's super okay. The premise is she's into this guy Makoto. I'm pretty sure his name is Makoto, and she, you know, okay. So the big twist, and this actually got me. This was when I knew I was watching peak, because it's set up. You know, we get the dramatic like piano music. You know, it's a very somber atmosphere. And the girl comes in. He's like, dude, I'm in love with you. And, you know, the main character's like, I see what's coming. Like, I can read it in the stars. She's not gonna like what I'm about to show her. So he takes off the wig, you know, pulls up the uniform so she can see his chest. And he's like, yeah, I'm a boy. And she just well, no, it starts off, I love the way it's revealed. It shows tears. But then it turns out they're tears of joy, because she's like, I can enjoy both the boy and girl versions of you. This is great. This is what I mean when I say bisexual menace. She could destroy the world.
Let me tell you something about this. I know a lot of how do I lead with this? There is a particular term for this type of. I know a lot of queer people. Sure. Let's go with that. A lot of queer friends. And there's a particular term for this type of person in the trans community, and that's a chaser. And this character is 100% a chaser. And I loved
chasing that bag.
And I loved the portrayal of it because, like, one, sorry, actually I'm a boy. And then she starts fucking, like, frothing at the mouth tail wagging, foot moving awuga, and she goes, "That's," or rather, he goes, "That's not how you're supposed to respond either." And that's true in real life, when chasers are like, "Hey, I like you," and then it's like, "I'm trans," and they're like, "I like you even more," and it's like, well, now I just think you like me for the transness. Like, you want someone to like you for you, and I enjoyed that as the show continued, and Makoto is like, she's certainly a freak, but maybe she's fine. It felt very real to me. And then you have that third character coming in.
Yeah, she's definitely not reacting the way you're supposed to.
She definitely can't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Like,
which is base. You should do that to every person you ever ask out if they tell you no.
You should not do that. Neon is being extremely sarcastic.
I'm gonna quote
I'm not
that.
being sarcastic. I'm being completely genuine. This show is promoting this very socially acceptable behavior.
Chaser's got to chase. Romance is about the hunt. Quote.
And I'm in it for the love of this game. No, I do it for the love of the sport.
And see, like, the show definitely has to play its cards right, which I have faith. I have faith that it's gonna play its cards right. It's gonna do the good things instead of the bad things. We're gonna get, like, a lot of emotions from this and whatnot. But, like, you know, she's just so funny that it's like, I buy into the scenario. It's like, you know, because in a bad show, like, Dreaming Boy is a realist, like, they established that the girl, you know, feels, like, really harassed, actually, but then, you know, once he stops, you know, insistently harassing her, she, like, oh, no, actually, I feel bad for you. I really like you now, actually, and it's, like, really infuriating. With this show, you know, like, he's not, like, he, you know, sees her as a freak, which she is, but at the same time, he's, like, it's not continually beating you over the head with, like, he feels harassed. This is, like, a terrible thing she's doing. It's more portrayed as she's just hilarious and freaky and a complete weirdo.
Yeah, she backed
and,
off
like,
immediately.
You shouldn't do this. Yeah, she did back off enough. I mean, not that much, to be fair.
Didn't she go to his class every day if he was there multiple times a day?
I would say in a romantic sense. Like, she isn't licking the floor where he walks. She's much more willing to just be friendly with him. And that's kind of the thing. And I think that's the reason why he's like, you know what, she might be all right. Because, you know, other than the smelling handkerchief thing, that is, don't do that. It's fine.
I mean, don't do any of that, but the humor also comes from the fact that she is a complete weirdo.
Yeah.
Like, the joke requires acknowledgement that she is a freak. Whereas with the Dreaming Boy Realist, it was, like, more of a sympathy card of, like, oh, I can't believe you aren't harassing that girl anymore. I feel so bad for you, main character, who I don't remember the name of. But this show, it's, like, full acknowledgement of this fact. Like, that is the joke. You have, for it to be funny, you have to acknowledge that. And that's why it is funny. I think it's really humorous. I love her. Bisexual menace, like I said.
Mm-hmm. And then they introduced the gay boy.
Yeah, so this... I want to quickly contrast this against another show this season. Alya specifically, which might seem like a weird comparison at first. But what I want to hammer home with this... Alright, so within this first episode, two people are already established as being in love with the main female presenting, but ultimately male character, at least at this point in the narrative. You know, we have yet to see where it goes, but, you know, for now, male character. And so, you know, two people are in love with him. In a trashy show like Alya, granted it was only one girl who was in love with him, and then another girl who is his sister, but acts like she's in love with him. It feels like it's very self-evident that it wants you to get off to it. You know, it's like this, you know, dream or whatever that you're supposed to, like, be like, oh yeah, you know, this is great. I want to be in that scenario. This is how you do that right. because at no point did it feel like you were supposed to be, like self-inserting into the protagonist. Like there's a reason for all this. Like it feels like the show is getting at something, and it very clearly is, especially with that last line where it's like "goodbye me" as he closes.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was like a locker. Dude, that line hits. Like there's a point it's making. It's getting to something here. Like
It's
these
the same
two
thing
people...
that happens in. Wait, I guess I should ask. Have you guys seen all of Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night?
I saw the
Not
first
yet.
episode.
I will shut the fuck up. There is a
Oh, yo, based trans character in the show?
yeah.
Ayo,
there's a very similar beat with the like hello or well goodbye me as a character like takes off a mask, and Japan's trans identity, their culture around it is very complex. So like even the use of this word Otokonoko, I was looking into this so much because the name of the show in like the little English tag it has is "This is him, can't be anyone else," and I was like, why aren't we calling it that then? Or is this meant to be just a tagline? Because every time you see it, it's just "Senpai is an Otokonoko," and I looked up Otokonoko. Very, very historically messy word. It translates to our F slur in some instances. It translates to crossdresser. It translates to femboy. But like all of it loses its like they're not going to call it "Senpai is a femboy" because you lose all of the
Yeah, because
historical
then Crunchy
context.
would be sucking it off even harder than he is now.
Exactly.
So like this, when they call someone in a Tokonoko, it's like, okay, are they a crossdresser? Or do you mean they're trans? And that final line makes me think like, there's no way that this isn't a trans romance story. No way. But we'll see.
I mean, it's possible it isn't, because there are people who just like to dress up as girls.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
thing.
I don't want to misgender, but to me, from like what I gathered from the opening, also because I only made it halfway through the episode before I got so fed up with the directing, that was just like, I can't watch this anymore. It seemed to me just like, because the final shot of the opening is the main character Makoto, in his not wearing the girl outfit, not wearing the wig or anything, and smiling at himself in the mirror. So that got me to thinking that he doesn't hate the fact that he's a boy, but he wants like the freedom to dress up as a girl,
which is
I guess like what
yeah, it is base.
What makes me think
it's like is that like a subculture drag? Because I know that there's a bit of a, it's not all of them, but like there is a subsection of trans people who view drag as like blackface for them.
I don't know. I've not heard this
Neon,
before, but I've never heard
today?
that.
I don't know. I guess if I had it's weird that it happened twice, right? Nickels and all that.
Nickels, Doofenshmirtz. Drag is like a hyper feminine performance. Whether you're male, female, or in betweeny, it's just people putting on like literally a cartoonish feminine persona. Even like ostensible women do drag. So, and speaking as someone who isn't trans at all, so it's just like, I am on the outside, and here's
Therefore,
my
we
feelings.
Have the most authority to talk about
Exactly.
it.
As someone with little authority, I don't know if I would take that seriously. But the final line, the like "goodbye me," is what made me go like, maybe. Because, that word, it has multiple meanings. Just the reason why they didn't bother translating it into any English equivalent. We're still up in the air. This coin hasn't landed yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, if the show or / manga is like about his journey of like realizing it.
Yeah.
Maybe just like realize that he is trans.
Yep.
And
See,
that he does in fact want to be a girl in name too, not just in appearance.
There are like so many places this show could go, and all of them would be like meaningful and have something to say about society and specifically Japanese culture in this case and their views on this issue. And it's like, okay, I'm strapped in. Like, come on, let's go. I want to see this. Like, that's the quickest way to get me into a show. Just say something interesting and show, strides in being aware of what you're saying. And this show has demonstrated, like, that final line above all else has shown that, like, hey, like, we're getting to something.
We're cooking.
The pot's gonna start simmering. And, like, these characters that are in love with him, they are helping to, further the themes of the story. And that, to me, is interesting.
Maybe the script is better than I'm giving it credit for, and maybe I was just so distracted by the god-awful direction that it made me not realize it. But regardless, if I ever were to continue Senpai's no Otokonoko, it would definitely be the manga, not giving the anime another look.
I am absolutely doing the same. I am going to read the manga. Well, I know I will. There's no way I'm not. I wonder if there's a physical. There has to be. There has to be a physical release of this.
I saw that.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it in
release.
Barnes and Noble before.
I saw that it was released with Webtoon, but physical, not so sure.
Well, I guess that would be one story we could find the answer to later. Because right now we gotta talk about Black Clover 2!
I did not watch this one.
Oh no, Crunchy, you missed out!
It's good.
It was actually good.
It was
actually
crazy.
good.
This is one of my favorites so far.
It's one of my favorites too. So Crunchy, how familiar are you with Black Clover?
Not
at all. All right, so
no.
This show is so this is like, hey, Black Clover, can I copy your homework? Sure, just don't make it obvious. And then they take it to the photocopier and just like almost print a 1-for-1 copy, even down to getting the same motherfucker who directed the Black Clover anime to direct this.
And it's good.
So why is it your favorite then?
Because it's better than Black Clover. At least if we're comparing first episodes, I enjoyed this way more than I enjoyed the first episode of Black Clover way back when.
It's pretty. The character designs are fun. I like the world building elements a lot. And God, there's an action sequence in the back half that really goes for it.
Yeah, the only thing Black Clover has over it is character designs. But aside from that, like everything, and I'd also say like I like the lore of Wistoria more than Black Clover.
Yes.
But if we're comparing settings, I think Black Clover's setting is a little better, just because this is also a Magic Academy. So how many in anime and Magic Academy are like white noise? Well, or rather, yeah, Magic Academies when it comes to anime is like white noise to me because we see them so often. But yeah, this is basically Harry Potter crossed with Black Clover. And it takes the best parts of both and mixes them into a fun little stew that's it's not particular, it's getting I don't want to insult it. It's a little more deep than I'm going to be letting it on to be, but as far as like you getting your fun shonen fix, this'll feed you this season.
Yeah. This is the most action that I saw in all of the episodes that we're going to look at. And after watching so many like lifeless isekai, I was like, I can feel something.
Yeah, a shot of adrenaline to the arm.
And the world
Emotion
building
other
elements,
than apathy,
God,
jump scare.
so good.
yeah, the Crunch. This is why you gotta at least like give them the 5-minute eye test before you pass over them, because then you miss out on Kino.
Is this really that Kino, though? The way you're describing it doesn't sound that appealing to me. I'ma keep it a buck with you.
All right, here, let me paint a picture for you. So our main boy, This is also why it's exactly like Black Clover. Its setup and premise is literally one for one Black
Adorable little
Clover's.
man.
Yeah, so our main character, Will Sterford, and his impossible ahoge, it's so big that you can turn him upside down and hang your coat up on his little hair hook. He's a student at a magic academy, except, oh wait, he doesn't have any magical aptitude whatsoever. He can't do a basic spell to save his life. So what does he do? He's trained his body and his mind to the point where he don't need magic. He is the strong boy. He swing the sword good. He swingeth the sworda, and he swings it the best. No one can swing a sword like this man.
I believe the line
And
was
he's able
like,
to-
in a world of wizards, he is the only warrior, I think.
Yeah.
And
So basically, like, the closest thing I can think of to it is Mashal.
Yeah, it's I enjoyed Mashal's first episode more than this. I can't speak to the rest of the series, but as far as the action that happens, Mashal hits better emotional beats for a first episode, but when it comes to action, Wistoria's got it beat. Cuz main director Tatsuya Yoshihara he goes crazy with his action scenes.
Also, the world building element around the sky really, really captivated me. As a
Yeah, I was caught off guard by that because I thought it was just okay, is it like they have like a magic sun? That's when I first saw like the bunch of like magical circles in the sky to make up the sun, I thought it was gonna be like I thought it was just like a stylized thing, kind of like how Soul Eater has a stylized sun and moon.
Yep.
But no, the reason that there are a bunch of magical circles in the sky to light it up is because that's not actually the real sky. So in this world, there was like an invading chaotic force that plunged the world into darkness. So much so that you could no longer see the blue of the sky or the sun, and they completely coated the world in darkness. Excuse me. But then 5 wizards, known as the Magia Vander, came together to hold off the darkness by casting a spell from a tower that lights up the sky through their magic. It's not real natural sunlight. It's just light. It's light magic, and that's what's keeping the world. No one has seen the actual sunshine in so long. And
it's so long
no one's
ago
seen
that
the sun.
it's reduced to like fable. There's a what's the word? Flashback
Yeah.
between 2 children talking about the concept of a sunset, and they're kind of describing it a little wrong, but you can get how we got there, and it's like, cause it's a myth. The sunset is a myth.
Yeah, that was the coolest bit of world building to me. That just like
Absolutely.
this first episode is greater than the sum of its parts. It also has some of the best production values out of any show. Like, bro,
Yes.
the character acting and character animation goes insane. That one little clip of Will pumping his fist and being like, "Yes, I did it,"
Mhm.
has so many frames and like so flowy with the camera work that like it lives rent free in my head.
I guess what we're saying in summation, Crunchy, is this doesn't sound all that interesting in concept, but there's a lot of production into this, and it's squeaky clean. It's a really, really well executed idea, even if it kind of just sounds like a fantasy thing. But I loved it. It really is a pretty ass anime, and again, best action sequence in this first block.
Yeah,
I mean, the
bar
thing with the
none.
sky sounds really cool, I will say.
Yeah, so the way that it works is that you people go to this magic school so they can learn to become high class mages and even become a Magia Vander. And the reason that our main boy has dreams of becoming a Magia Vander is because his childhood friend that he talked about seeing the sun with also went to the magic school, and she was like a prodigy. She was so good, she was the youngest ever to become Magia Vander. However, since he's got no magical aptitude whatsoever, he fears that he won't be able to fulfill that promise with her. So the only way he's able to stay in school and not get expelled from Magic Academy is because one of the classes, or one of the ways that you earn credits is by going down into the dungeon and slaying monsters as like a practical. So that's the only reason he's skating by, is because he's so strong with the sword that he's just able to kill monsters and bring back their remains as proof that he killed them. So he's like, all right, you can have these amount of credits so you can survive. But he's like skirting by through this.
This will be a
I
theme.
mean, it sounds.
You go ahead. Sorry.
Sounds
He also
like
has an adorable
interesting
little
enough
familiar,
premise.
which I don't. They haven't explained familiars yet in this first episode, so I don't know why he has one if he has no magic. But the
I get the
familiar
sense-
is also cute and funny.
I get the sense it's not his. I think it's his teacher, because the teacher looks through the eyes of the familiar to keep track of him.
Oh, I thought. Oh, you know what? That's probably it. I just thought he had omnipotent crystal ball powers.
Yeah.
But yeah, the action goes crazy. The Will as a character is like instantly relatable and likable. I think my favorite moment with him is that when he sees the rival character that was bullying him in class, getting attacked by that big monster.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And he was about, and he's like seeing his shitty friends that were with him, his cronies getting murdered by it, and he's like, oh no, he's getting attacked. I have to save him, right? Don't I? Like, well, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, he's been nothing but a dick to me my entire time in school. Am I really like a bad person if I leave him to die in this scenario? He knows I'm not here. No one else knows that I'm down here. I could just, wash my hands of this whole thing and be rid of him. But then he thinks about what his childhood friend thought about him, and he's like, well, I can't break that promise of how she views me, so I guess I'll save him.
Yeah, like even in that
He's
last
a good
statement,
boy.
even in that last statement though, it's still not like, you're right, I am a good person. It's, no, I'm what you want me to be. It's like, that's real. If I were bullied for, I mean, they said that they were 6 years, I think it said. So if I've been bullied for years by this one fucker, I would in fact sit there and go, do I need to do anything? And arriving at the answer, yes, but only really because of someone I care about, that's still real to me. And I liked it. It was good.
Yeah, like, and it's already better than Black Clover because this main character is A, not annoying to listen to, and nor B, is he motivated by his drive to marry his mother figure.
We've all been there. It's a self-insert.
He's also studious, so he's also basically it's Black Clover if Asta were Deku. So which is you pitched that to me. That's already an upgrade to the real Black Clover. So
yeah, I don't have
I will
much more to
say
say.
this is
It's
the
great.
first I've heard of Black Clover and the main character marrying his mother figure. Ayo.
I'm being a little facetious. He wants to, when he grows up, one of his goals is that he wants to marry his caretaker, who was a sister of the cloth. So she's a nun, so she can't get married. But because he's a shonen protagonist, he's got to do the impossible. So even if it's not even if it's impossible, like marrying a nun, he'll find a way to do it. Ain't that so likable?
That's a weird application of that.
Yeah, I know. It's that's why it's
Gotta find a way to bring our mom back. Gotta
find.
find a way to bring our bodies back. Gotta find a way to marry this. Anyway.
Yeah, it's also weird because she raised them when he was brought to the orphanage. But it's okay because she also comically beats him up sometimes when he gets too frisky. So it would kind of shit people all around.
Anime, huh?
All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to say about this show? Because I
yeah,
obviously don't.
Main character has goggles, so that automatically makes him cooler.
Yeah.
He puts on goggles when he fights.
He's very cute.
Yeah, he is very twinkish. So
all right,
that
well, now
might be
you've
a
sold me
motivator
on
for
the
you,
show.
Crunchy. Yeah.
Why
He's
didn't you say so earlier?
I mean, I did describe him as if Asta were Deku, so and he
Sure,
does
I
have
guess
a
that does
comically
kind
large,
of imply it.
a comically thick, comically large hair Ahoge.
Let me look at this. I have a note here. I wrote, I would kiss this little twink.
True. And so would his orange-haired friend.
So true.
Because they're cute together. Like, there's so much good character acting and animation on display. Everything that they've set up so far is fun. I'm down to see more. It has the potential to be a really fun shonen. Right now, I just think it needs to establish more characters and a series of smaller goals on our way to reach the big goal of becoming the Magi of Vander. And if it does that, we've got a banger on our hands.
Yeah. Yeah, like, good hook, need more.
Not really anything. There's not really any other, like, big shonen story this season. I mean, there's Fairy Tail, but you need to have seen all of Fairy Tail to get into the 100 Years Quest. Also, Fairy Tail is ass. Same with Tower of God. So, if you're looking to jump into a unique unique as in you don't need prior knowledge, but maybe, or saying it that it's original is being a bit facetious. It's definitely not what's the word I'm looking for? It's reminiscent of its peers, but it's not reductive. It builds upon it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're comparing first episodes, I think there's a much better first episode than Black Clover's.
And that's really all we asked for.
So is this another show that I should drop everything and watch?
I wouldn't say this is a drop everything.
But it is good.
It wouldn't make for a horrible show to talk about on the podcast if we had time for it, but I would sooner recommend watching, like, genre aside, even like disregarding genre entirely, I would sooner recommend Shoshimin series. But if you're the type of anime fan who's like, I only watch shonen, I watch nothing else but shonen, everything else besides shonen is gay, then I would recommend Wistoria to get your fix.
All right, well, there you have it.
All right, well, you missed out on that one, Crunchy.
What's next?
I have a feeling you didn't miss out on No Longer in Another World, because this one is another crunchy-coded AF show.
I love this show.
Yeah, of course you do, because you're the main character. Someone who's been fed up. This is you after having to be forced to clock in for your tri-monthly isekai slop consuming that you also want to kill yourself.
And yet, this is an isekai itself.
Everything about this show is so good. Because, okay, so the premise of this show, you could not have sold me a better premise for a show. Remember your boy Kong Ming? Remember how, we had the funny historical figure in a weird modern scenario? Well, this show does you one better. This show puts Osamu fucking Dazai in just a generic isekai world.
Oh, is this a real dude?
Yes! He's the author behind No Longer Human. And the idea, so Osamu Dazai
brush up
wrote
on my
one
Japanese literature then. I just thought this was a fictional character.
Because so I was going into this show. This was the first isekai I watched, and I was like, okay, well, this is going to be an isekai. I'm probably going to want to die by the end. And then I saw the main character's name, and I was like, wait, where have I seen that before? So I searched it up on Google, and I'm like, oh, wait, they didn't. No, they did. They totally did. They put Osamu Dazai in an isekai. And, so he wrote No Longer Human, which, if you don't know, super depressing, super popular Japanese novel. Like,
weird.
Huge, one of the most well-known Japanese novels, but the author shortly killed himself after. Like, it's the final book he wrote. And so the idea behind this show is, what if Osamu Dazai, after writing No Longer Human and killing himself, went to an isekai? And by the way he dies, it's hilarious.
Ridiculous.
The isekai has, like, this truck service, and so whenever they...
Truck-kun is canon!
Yes! I laughed out loud when I saw that. I was like, I'm in good hands.
I am now headcanon... I'm now retroactively headcanoning every single isekai that has ever killed someone with a truck to be like, okay, that was just the Otherworld transport service.
Yeah, they have like this like this service that goes around isekaiing people who are about to die or kill themselves or whatever, who are unsatisfied with their current life. And but Osamu Dazai is a special case because like as soon as he reincarnates, he's like, "Oh, I'm still alive? Man, that's cringe." And he tries to kill himself again. He starts taking out these little pills and crunching on them like Skittles. And he does this throughout the episode, by the way. They make him immune.
He's just
like
popping
the
them.
goddess makes him immune to the poison, but he still pops them every once in a while. Yeah, he just keeps crunching on them. I hope he never runs out of them. I hope this is just something he does. Just
I think that's
continuously
gonna
throughout
be
the
his
show.
thing that he does. He's gonna have a bottomless supply of sedative pills.
Yeah,
I bet he will, because
it's
that's
so
his
funny.
ability, as they point out after the fight.
Yeah, so he's so depressed that he is literally, his insides are toxic. Like, there's this tree monster that, comes, I mean, first it tentacle gropes some girl, so, mildly cringe.
Yeah.
But then, it grabs him, but as if it were a noose, which made me laugh. But then I laughed even harder when the girl, she says, "Oh yeah, the tree like sucks out your life force," and then immediately it cuts to the tree slowly
Bro has
dying.
anti-life force.
This feels like Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei. Do you know what that is, Superdude?
Nope.
Okay,
No, I do
so
not.
I am here with two Zetsubo Sensei versions. If you don't know, Zetsubo Sensei is a black comedy about a guy who wants to kill himself. And he's comically depressed about the world and constantly, rants and raves about society. This is like Zetsubo if he were transported to an isekai world. And that premise alone is hilarious. And like, no, what I love even more, like
I viewed it as what if the protagonist of an isekai was the guy from the Smiling Friends pilot that held the gun up to his head the whole
I'm
episode.
just gonna kill myself, yeah.
That's the one episode of Smiling Friends I've watched.
I'm just thinking that the whole time.
Yeah, so, but he eventually, he starts off aimless, but eventually gets a goal, which is, I'm going to, because he still has the red string of fate on his wrist, and she was killed by the same truck, and so he knows that his wife is somewhere in this isekai world, and so his goal is to find her, which I'm very glad they established right before they also I mean, okay, I kind of knew the goddess was in love with him, like when she started, blushing and saying he was different.
Mhm.
But as soon as, like, right before she's brought back, he has this goal. Just so you know that when the harem inevitably forms, he will have zero interest, and it will just be there for chaos, which I am down for.
I love that he refuses to learn the cat girl's name.
That is also great. Just every time they try to make a joke, it works out perfectly. I love everything in this show. Except for the production values. I've seen the cover of the manga, and it looks like actually really well drawn, at least from the cover. So this is another read the manga moment. I'ma be real with you. A bit more of one than My Senpai is in or no, a bit less of one rather.
I was gonna say a bit more. Out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, it's a bit less of a read the manga forehead moment than My Senpai. I'd be at least willing to watch this anime, whereas it'd be criminal to watch My Senpai as opposed to reading it. Well, watch My Senpai is annoying, and various other My Senpai shows, I'm sure, but not this one. Whereas this, the prod values aren't good, but they're not abysmal. They're just not good either.
That's because it's Atelier Pondark.
Yeah, I noticed that. They're back. And it looks way worse than Isekai Uncle.
Well, that's because they realized that they couldn't make a good-looking show on a normal schedule. They had to make a okay-looking show, an average-looking show on a regular schedule, on a rushed, which is to say an anime, a rushed schedule. I saw that CG dragon.
I did too,
The-
and I was like,
The CG dragon almost made me want to tap out, but I was like, okay, I'm liking the humor of the show, so I'm gonna stick with it, and I'm glad that I did because the show is funny. It's not high on my priority list of shows to get back to, but as far as I'm concerned, Atelier Pondark are 3 for 3 on the show so far.
they're. Well, I didn't like Doki-chan. Isekai Uncle
I
is
like
good, and then this is something I'm gonna skip for the manga. So I'd say they're 1 for 3 more like, but, to each their own.
We can't win them all.
Yeah, but overall, like, I love
Do we
this
anyone
show.
else have anything to say about No Longer Allowed?
Nope.
It's really good. You should watch it. I think it's hilarious.
All right, well, now comes to the part where we start speedrunning shit because I
Weird,
think
why?
from this moment on it's like nothing but duds. Because I'll tell you right now, I did not make it more than 5 minutes into Why Does Nobody Remember Me in this world.
I did not even watch it.
I watched all of it.
You poor thing.
It's fine. Don't.
Why
don't
don't you tell us about it then?
Well, there's a guy. He stares. I'm bad with names, as you recall. Main character. His name's Kai. He looks at a demon obelisk, or rather a demon pyramid. He looks at it for 5 minutes every day. Thank God nothing happens in the other 23 hours and 55 minutes. He then goes home. It kind of is a lot like the She-Ra reboot on Netflix. Like, it has the same beginning. And then the world pauses and it just resets itself. You hear some sort of voice that's like rewriting the world, and he's like, and then he's in a new world.
He went exactly like that, sound for sound.
He's in a new world. It's the exact same world with a couple of notable details. One, he's not in this new world. No one remembers him, hence the title. And also, the hero isn't in this world. There are 5 heroes of each of the 5 races. I didn't tell you guys what the original world state is. So there's a war against all the 5 races. And when I say races, I don't mean elves and dwarves and whatnot. I mean ghosts, demons, angels. And there's another one. Who cares?
Well, clearly
every one of them
is the best isekai of the season because there's a race war in it.
True.
Each one of the races has a hero. The humans win and then commit genocide on the 4 other races. That happens off screen.
Yeah, let's go Undertale.
Don't worry about it. In this new version of the reality, the human hero was never born, which caused the humans to get murked. They all live underground. All the other races still exist and are fighting each other. For some reason, the humans were just... I think the humans are probably the worst, because, I don't know, when I win, my next thought isn't, well, let's eradicate them from the face of the world. And yeah, then it's just him walking around going, do you remember me? And everybody goes, no. And he goes, ah! And also, there is a couple of different things that imply that this rewriting of the world hasn't stuck. Characters have a physical memory where their brain doesn't. Like, he asks something from a character, something that they should not give him because he's a random stranger and has no military rank, and yet they do it because, well, he did have military rank in the other world. So there's some shit, but also, who cares? I will say this is probably one of the nicer looking ones, but that's not saying too much. Don't watch it.
Well, good, because
Yeah,
I was not
the only
planning
thing
to.
The only thing I remember from it is that it does my favorite thing in any show, where it just exposition dumps a bunch of encyclopedia shit
Yep.
of proper noun, a proper noun soup of words I have no context for.
Yep.
So that's
Man, that's my
fun.
favorite
And
trope.
also,
No, it's great, though.
yeah, that's enough of that one. The strongest magician in the Demon Lord's army was a human. Similar thing, I made it like 5 minutes in and I tapped out.
I made it 7 on 2 times speed. So that...
I watched all of it.
Once again, you poor thing.
This is
Yeah, so-
probably my least favorite thing on the entire list. so far.
So far, yeah, definitely. I mean, even like
Yeah.
2.5D Seduction, at least it had a premise, even if it was an infuriating one. This is, what if the Demon King leader was some guy and he like didn't kill everyone?
You
And
see
then
it in the
it's
title. Like,
that
there's
for-
nothing else it has to tell you.
That's the end of the show. I mean, it's not false advertising. They didn't clickbait us.
They tell you what it is, but there's no spices. It's just oatmeal.
Yep, it's like the strongest magician in the Demon Lord's army was in fact a human. Where do I pick up my Emmy?
He goes around. He runs into random characters, and he's like, "Oh, are they gonna find out?" And then they leave, and then he goes, "Thank God they didn't find out." And then 24 minutes pass.
So it
And that's
was exactly
Yeah,
what I
so I'm thinking
predicted
anime
it'd
of the
be
year.
after 7 minutes. Just
Yep.
that premise run into the ground.
Yep.
Yeah,
I have nothing else to say.
Uh,
Sucked.
I
Let's not
struggle
forget
to
the
even-
CG
Wait.
Orc and Knight armies.
I do actually have something else to say. The art
Oh,
is
no.
fucking awful.
Yeah.
There's CGI throughout it, and it's so sluggish and terrible. Like, I know that CGI is a cost-saving measure. If you're going to use it, try something. Instead, like, there was a golem that's CGI that he fights, if you could call it that. And I was like, it's so slow. And, maybe a golem should be slow. But there's no weight behind the actions. It's all very robotic. Like, if you're not going to fucking draw and you're going to do some CGI, put some effort in. Like, not Band Girls Cry effort, but please, something. But no, it's garbage. Garbage all the way down.
Yeah, so I watched this like not even 2 days ago. I already barely remember it, and I have a feeling that in a week's time, it will be a black hole in my memory. All I will remember is the bad CG in like the first 2 shots, and how that was
All I
basically
remember
a
is the maid
precursor.
girl bonking her head on the table.
Oh, I do. Okay, now that you mention it, I do remember that and may continue to remember it. Otherwise,
Because
it's...
all she does is eat dough pastries.
Yeah, it's bad. It's an isekai. What more do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Do
you like trash?
Failure frame. I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells. Do you want that?
No.
Okay, at least there's something to say about this one, because it's...
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad, but
That
it's
is a bog
not,
standard
like...
incel revenge isekai.
Yes, it's a Joker-fied
It is-
isekai if I've ever seen one.
It is extremely edgy.
Joker-fied.
I actually watched most of the episode. Granted, I started speeding it up after not long, but...
Same, actually. I did watch the whole episode. I just started speeding it up like halfway through.
So the idea
just made me
behind
angry.
this show is that main character Kun, okay, so they establish early on that there's this social hierarchy going on in class, right? Where, the guys, they bully people. They bully this girl, and then they consider bullying him because he's usually like air. They make sure to point that out. So immediately, I mean, I'm genre savvy enough at this point to be like, okay, they've established this social hierarchy because he's going to upend it. Like, the point of the show is he's going to reverse the social hierarchy. He's going to be on top when he is currently at bottom. Also, this girl is presented as a victim, so she will be one of the main characters, and she'll be like the only nice one in class. And sure enough, he has like
She will be the only one. She will be the one that the guy sends. I like you. Don't come to school tomorrow.
Yep. That is that.
Yeah. And so, like, oh, wow, he has the weakest spell. I wonder how many episodes it will take for him to completely reverse the social hierarchy. I didn't finish this episode, so I don't know what his condition is by the end of it. Probably outcasted. But he'll be back.
Well, I could tell you.
It'll only take a couple episodes.
He gets thrown. They decide
To the dungeon.
Yeah, he gets thrown into the trash mob dungeon, which is essentially what they call it. And they're like, hey, we don't like spending energy on the weakest, so we kill them. well, we don't kill them. We throw them into a dungeon, which is effectively killing them. Bye-bye. And he, gets Joker-fied, decides to shoot a spell at God, and God goes trash tier, mob, L ratio. And then he gets thrown into the whatever. And then it is discovered that what makes this guy particular is that his status conditions have 100% effectiveness. And that's it.
Wow, who could have seen that coming? He has a special skill. Oh my...
Whoa. Who could have seen it coming? I was told on the box.
I didn't know. Wow, Man, I should go back to this show. That was really unexpected, Superdude. Thank you for enlightening me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
In case you couldn't tell, that was exactly what I thought from the moment the episode began, that there would be some asterisk to his skill that would make it super good. Yeah, wow. Who could have seen it coming?
Yeah.
Definitely not me. Couldn't be me for real.
It's not like, these shows exactly tell you their secrets immediately.
True, I mean, the title is literally, I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells. So, I mean...
imagine how much better
They're so afraid.
The title would be if you just took out everything after failure frame. Like, that's a good title by itself.
Yeah.
That rolls off the tongue nicely.
Yeah, we've got some alliteration. I mean, come on. But Isekai, it's like a YouTube thumbnail, so they've got to put in, like, the bright red arrows, and that comes in the form of explaining everything. It's like a Mr. Beast video, where he's like, and then we're gonna do this, and that, and that.
It's like when people have copied, like, the Mr. Beast style of videos, where they have to, like an introduction in a essay, you have to say the point of it in the first sentence of the video to keep the little kids' attention. I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells.
Now watch my father hit me.
Oh yeah, that was like the first thing in the episode.
With the weakest slap ever put to animation.
I put, what is it? Well, I hate this. That's note 1 for this show.
Does putting like child
we also got to
abuse
make sure that the dad is cartoonishly evil. He is laughing maniacally while he's beating his son, and his mom just doesn't give a fuck. So
does putting
we have to establish
cartoonishly
that
evil child abuse in the first second of your show, does that really make the main character more sympathetic? Because to me, I personally, when I saw that scene, I was like, I put up both my fists in the air, started pumping them, got that sports chant going, like, beat that child, beat that child, beat that child.
I'm not one to victim blame, but like, hey, what did he do? Maybe he deserved it.
Look, we're lacking context.
What did he talk back?
Saying.
Jesus Christ.
We don't know the whole story.
Motherfucker played with his Legos loud.
No, even worse, he put it out on the floor so that the dad stepped in them. That would deserve it. Like BTBH.
It's like that one clip. It's like that one clip from the Boondocks. Did I just catch you having fun?
It's a very angry show, and the first episode is just him getting shit on constantly. So by the time he discovers, hey, maybe I got this, I was feeling like, yeah, sure, man, but also, I don't want to watch this. It's so negative. I don't want to be in a bad mood.
I'm not going to be continuing it. And the last thing I want to say about it, just to open a forum, is what do you think is the kind of revenge that he'll do on everyone? Does he? I gotta ask, because this is just the kind of show it is. Do we go full redo of healer? Does he revenge rape the goddess that banished him, or does he just kill her?
I mean, I would hope not, but also he has a sleep spell. I would hope not
too, but
he has a sleep spell.
I'm asking to see how far it goes. How far y'all think it'll go?
How many more times do we have to watch Rising of Shield Hero before we can? Shield Hero wasn't even good. Why do you keep on copying it, Isekai? But I mean, how far it'll go? It will not go as far as redo of healer. But it'll also, I feel like it'll go kind
They
of
might imply
farther.
it. Yeah, like they might get close to that line.
Do you think he'll kill her?
If you could call redo a line.
Will he kill her or any of the other students that
Oh, he's killing those students.
Yeah, I
You
was
know
gonna
what?
say,
I'm
like,
gonna go on the
is that
side of he's going to get close to killing them, but then at the last minute it's gonna pull the card, right? You know the card.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but killing them would
Yeah,
make me just as bad as them, so I will spare them, but also like in a way that humiliates them a whole bunch. That's what I'm guessing
I,
will happen, because it just doesn't seem like it's gonna go full redo of healer or full,
I
insanity.
I only ask because, and I only know this because our friend Armagon watched this show when it came out, Ari Fuerta, that infamously bad isekai, the revenge fantasy story. That guy does in fact kill his bully, so for revenge, there is a precedent.
Well, I have not seen Ari Fureta. I have only heard that it is abysmal.
It is. There's a the best part of the show is that there's a dragon who can turn into a humanoid girl.
Of course.
And the guy beats her by shoving a massive metal pike up her ass, and she's into it.
What the fuck?
Sure, why not?
Excuse me?
I'll accept that.
Can we get Jesus Christ
Yeah,
on the
sounds-
line?
Yeah, well, that's enough about this show. Let's see, what's next? Dahlia and Bloom, crafting a fresh start with magical tools.
I wanted to like this show. I wanted
it's
to like
fine.
it based on the premise.
It has a admittedly cool premise. Why is it an isekai? It does not need to be an isekai at all.
It barely
this
even
might
touches
win
on
the
it.
Award. Yeah, so we have the generic backstory where it's like, and then she overworked and died. Cool. And then it just cuts to a scene completely unrelated. We never get back to that. I think it's just her asking her dad about like, hey, there's all these magical objects, like I want to make them. And why this might win
It's a
the award
choice.
for least necessary isekai. Genuinely. Like, I would give it that trophy because I don't think I've ever seen an isekai, like, normally they're pretty unnecessary. I don't think I've seen one kill off the character and like show it and then proceed to like cut to a different scene and never call back to it. Like, the only callback is it actually it actively makes the show worse for being an isekai, because all her inventions are her just making stuff that exists on Earth. Where it's like, I want to see her make wacky inventions, though. I want to see her go crazy with it. But instead,
I want to see her accidentally invent a magical bicycle.
Yeah, but like instead, okay, the implication is that she partially I mean, at least this is the vibe I got. She doesn't fully remember her life on Earth, or at least doesn't seem to, or else I feel like, I mean, she draws like a kid. So clearly she is of a kid's intelligence, but also has these sort of repressed memories of stuff on Earth. That is the totality of the point of it being an isekai. Like, that is how much it affects the plot, i.e. not at all.
Yep. Like, it's
so,
cute, I guess. Like, yeah, our devices in this artificer reality, cool. But also, you didn't need to do that. You didn't even have to show it. Like, all of it still makes complete sense.
Dude, wait, you just unlocked something in my brain. Because imagine if it started at the scene, like, nothing needs to be changed, we just need to take out the isekai part, and obviously, like, change, I don't know, does it have, take out the crafting a fresh start, thing in the title, just call it Dahlia and Bloom, and then we see all these earthly objects that she's writing down, and we're like, Ayo, what's this? This is a fantasy world. But she knows something. Ooh,
yeah.
This is gonna be, crazy. It's a mystery, and then we don't figure it out for the rest of the episode.
And it produces
cool.
more interest in your protagonist.
Honestly, I would be more down for her to just watch her accidentally invent shit like bicycles and airplanes.
Yeah,
the
there's
Twin
that
Towers.
too.
Like,
But also, I just want the
don't
show
even
to
make
go crazy
her
with it.
Don't even imply that she's from the real world. Just have her like make magic equivalents of our tools.
Magic skyscraper.
Well, I want her to make like some crazy invention, like some Rube Goldberg machine from magic that just defies imagination. That's so cool. And, you know, it's intricate, and you're like, oh yeah, I want to see her build this. But this first episode like lacks any sort of forward thrust. It's just kind of, and then the little girl made a hairdryer. But it was a flamethrower. Well, at first, you know, she accidentally started a fire. Then it becomes like a flamethrower because her dad helps her, and then they like I didn't even finish the episode. I think I tapped
I didn't
out.
finish the episode. I didn't know she actually was able to start building anything.
No, she does.
Yeah, she
build
builds
something,
the hairdryer.
But it's like
I think my favorite part of the episode was where I was seeing them show off all the different kinds of magical tools, and how like you put a little like they're all based on elemental gems. You put a little water gem in a little hose, and it becomes like a power washer. You can put a little air gem on your feather duster, and it becomes like a little fan to blow dust off. Like, I was like, oh, that's cool and creative.
yeah, too bad the
But then
writing is
everything
not
else kinda
very
becomes a flat line.
creative.
Yeah, they don't do much with it.
Yeah, it's like emotional flatline.
I was extremely bored this entire episode, but it's not for it was not because I wanted to be or anything like that. I was not closed-minded about this show because that premise sounds, you know, cool. Like, yeah, make those magical tools, man. That sounds lit. And then it's just boring. It's just, why? You could have been so much more.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's disappointing.
Yeah, that's all I got to say. Alright, next up, I was actually more into this one than I thought I'd be. I thought I'd drop this 5 minutes in. I ended up watching the whole episode. I Parry Everything.
Got
I
to
did
say
not
up
watch
front.
that one.
I like the title. Like in all of these shows that are so hand-holdy, trying to get you to know exactly what they're gonna do, including their twists. I Parry Everything is short, concise, and you still know what the fuck the deal is. I like this title way more than
Bro is the
Honestly-
#1 Sekiro player.
But I saw the title and was just like, okay, so he's over.
I thought it was funny.
It's native
Parries
isekai.
everything.
It's native isekai.
yeah.
Doesn't make it much better. I saw the title and was like, there's no way this is gonna be even half decent.
It
So
still
I did
got
not watch
gamified.
It is kind of half decent. It's baseline and it's nothing special at all, but it's competent.
I
That's
liked
the
what
nicest
was
way I
here.
can call this.
It's essentially like it opens with our main guy whose name I didn't write down. Never gonna say it.
Nor.
Oh, Nor.
Or Nor. Yeah, his name's Nor.
Nor. Okay. It begins with Nor walking in on essentially fantasy quest bullshit happening, and there's a giant minotaur attacking an elf. Then the entire rest of the episode is getting into who this motherfucker is, his backstory from childhood to now, really helping set up, like, hey, who is this person who's walking into the situation? Because, you know, I Parry Everything, that's really communicating overpowered protagonist. So now we get to see how he got to this point, and you see that he's actually not that great at anything. His mom and dad, kaput, rip, rest in peace, love them, sorry guys. And then he goes on to be an adventurer before discovering he can't do goddamn anything except for the most basic shit across the board. One could say that he became the strongest and annihilates everything with low-level spells. The one thing he's good at is parrying. So he decides, after getting kicked out of literally every school of thought on adventuring, I'll just keep practicing parry because I'm good at it. And it's been said that you can develop new skills by practicing old ones. So he practiced parry for, I don't remember how long. I think it's
10 years.
10 years. 10 years. He can
He
parry
killed
1,000
slimes
swords
for
at
300
once.
years and maxed out his stats.
Basically.
Except in this case, he just slapped a bunch of sticks.
Yeah.
Slapped a bunch of wooden
He
sticks.
slappy sticks. He then goes back to the adventuring guild when they're like, holy shit, you? And then he's like, yeah, haha, look at my skills. And they go, these are dog shit. We unfortunately can't have you do anything. But we could make you this secret lowest adventuring rank, which is F rank. And these people can't fight monsters and they can't take adventures, but they can perform essentially community service tasks.
Menial labor. They gotta do the bitch work.
Yeah. And I like this. As a world building element, I'm like, people who want to be adventurers but can't can be helpful in society by just doing grunt shit, which they want to do because they want to be helpful. I thought that was cute. He does this for however long, and he's really good at it because, you know, even though it's dog shit for an adventuring party, having a low-level heal, having a fire spell, having an enhance ability to give yourself super strength, these are very, very useful for normal people. So he becomes well-beloved in his town. And then, of course, we catch up to adventure bullshit elf Minotaur. He parries the Minotaur so hard that its head explodes. And then he just leaves. And that's essentially the episode. It has a very similar setup to some other show that we're going to be seeing later, where he thinks that he's a weak bitch when the people around him are like, whoa, your parry ability makes you so insane. But the issue is he doesn't tell people, hey, I've been parrying for 10 years and now I can parry 1,000 swords at once. People just see the word parry on a piece of paper. So they're like, that's nothing, bro. So he's actually much more competent than he appears. I liked all of the setup. There's like, I don't know, man, 18 minutes of just telling you his backstory. So by the time you get to the Minotaur, you know, oh, he's never done anything like this before. There are some stakes, and there aren't stakes for long because the show's called I Parry Everything, but I also you get a dead dad and a dead mom, and I'm here for it. I'm sorry, this is who I am. I actually like this.
Yeah, like it's it's not an original backstory. His dad died when he was young, and he looked after his sick mom, and then she died, and he, as a kid, dreamed of becoming an adventurer, just like the ones from the stories that his father would tell him. But all he's good at, no matter how hard he tried and trained and studied, all he was good at was parrying swords. So he's like, well, if I can only do this one thing, I want to be like the best at this one thing. So after 10 years of morning, noon, and night training all day, is now able to parry 1,000 swords at once. But I also love that he revels in his F rank status, where, as long as he is labeled an adventurer, it doesn't matter that he's not, at least right now, he is content with doing all this menial grunt work because, in a way, he has accomplished part of what he set out to do. He wanted to become an adventurer, and while not the exact way he wanted, he is helping people, and he is labeled an adventurer, so
yeah,
he's happy about his status in life. But naturally, because of what happens with him in the Minotaur, he's going to move up the ranks.
I guess that's the thing, to put it succinctly. This show isn't anything special, but the main character has a heart of gold, so I like him.
Yeah. It's nothing that, like, kind of similar to, like, if I had consumed literally all pieces of media and I didn't just keep up with the new ones, like, then I would watch this. But there are like so many shows I would recommend before this one, because this is only like, yeah, if you've seen literally everything, then you can watch it and you probably won't get anything like rich out of it.
Yeah.
But it's competent. I would not call it a bad show.
Yeah, this is solid 5 out of 7 territory. Like, there's so many more good things.
Out of 7.
Oh yeah, you guys don't know. I rate things out of 7. Sorry.
God damn you! Well, even by that, by that metric, I wouldn't even give it a 5 out of 7. I'd give it like 4.
Yeah, it's like it's 6 out of 10 to 7 out of 10 area. Like, there's so much better.
I would say, yeah, 5. It's a 6 at best. 5, like, at least if we're talking first episodes, I'd like it's hovering between like 5 and 6 out of 10 territory.
I would call this like, if this is your trash, eat away. Like my romance anime, even if it's bad, I will eat it. And if you're into fantasy bullshit, here you go. Eat up.
So what you're saying is I have somehow missed out on all the actually decent shows.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Crunchy, this is why you gotta give him the 5-minute test instead of the I need to skip this outright test.
Like, the 5-minute test is for cowards. And also, I mean, I'll hear about it on the podcast anyway, to be fair.
Or you could be like me and watch everything.
Surely you at least checked out A Journey Through Another World Raising Kids While Adventuring.
I did actually.
You'll like this one. In this one, God is a femboy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so she's canonically a girl, I think, but is speaking with like the
Is
young.
she?
I think so.
I did not finish the full episode.
I don't want to look
She
this
sounds like a
up, but I'll
boy.
do it.
Sound-
I'll give you
Sounded like-
that. She.
It sounded like a feminine man.
I thought she
And
was a
I'm
femboy
very
at first
certain his-
too.
the voice that
I think she's supposed to be a girl.
I
Could be wrong.
I hope it's a femboy because that was the most interesting part of the episode.
Really? I mean, okay, to be fair, the thing about this show.
Silpharil
it's-
is a boy.
Okay.
I knew
in
it.
fact, a femboy. Which means he's just like me for real. Anyway. Actually, no, the Makoto from My Senpai is an Otokonoko. That's actually just like me for real. But, okay, so this show is just... I like the concept, kind of, but it's like the least creative possible execution of it. Like, genuinely...
Yes.
Yep.
About 3 episodes worth of progression happened in just this one because it refuses to flesh anything out. And, like, aggressively refuses to flesh anything out. So, for example...
It's just
The
more
children-
child having propaganda. Abe would
For
be
real,
proud.
It's not
actually.
good propaganda, though. Because, okay, so this episode has him... okay, so he makes the children, like, super happy and love him. But it happens over the course of, like, a minute. Like, literally a minute passes and they go from apprehensive to loving. And I'm like, dude, there's an entire... That would have been episode 1 to me. That entire arc would have been episode 1 if I were in the hands of this show, right? If I were able to write this. Because, funnily enough, like, it reminded me of the sort of conundrum I faced while writing my own story recently. I know, I'm a narcissist, I'll bring it up. But
Yeah, go ahead.
keep things vague, I had, in the initial draft of the story, I started where, like, the current chapter 3 ends. And I got, like, 1,000 words in, and I had to realize, wait, this sucks ass. And so I had to, like, rewrite the entire first leg of the story to be, like, much slower paced, or else it would suck. And this is that if they didn't rewrite it and just went ahead anyway. And so now it's, like, weirdly rushed, and you feel no investment in the characters. Like, what if the children, you know, what if the boy was like, hey, you know, fuck off, you know, we'll do our own thing. And, you know, like, the girl's hiding behind him or whatever. Like, we get some kind of dynamic with them. Just any dynamic at all. that
Yeah, and there's such
instead-
non-characters.
They literally are, for all intents and purposes, the same person. They are a unit. They do not... Nothing about them, like... Yeah, they're literally just the same person. Like, I don't get it. And so how am I supposed to be invested in this guy raising
One's
these
a
kids?
boy, one's a girl.
Wow, they're very different. Clearly, they're completely different characters, actually. But, like, they act the same. You know, what bothered me is that they were both mute at the beginning. So I was like, okay, if I were writing this, like, the girl would be mute, and then the guy would be, like, you know, accosting, you know, the main character, like, hey, you know, back away, like, we're surviving on our own. Society has, you know, fucked us over, and we're on our own now. Obviously, not in quite those terms, because they're children, but, like, the gist of it. You know, that would be awesome. That would be great. Peak. Kenography, even. But instead, they are both mute, so at the beginning of the episode, neither of them has a character, except that they can be given food and they will smile about it, and they will accept head pats, and so that they
And
are
karate chop
presumably...
every monster.
Yeah, I mean, that, to be fair, that is fun. You know, that I liked that, but also, like, it's just nothing. It's just so little. You know, like, they warm up to him immediately. This is, like, the least creative story ever. It's the least creative way to tell this specific tale. Yeah,
Honestly, we've already talked about this more than like it puts effort in.
Yeah, I've already said all my piece.
Look, all I'm saying
My thoughts
is...
about it start and end with Femboy God.
Look, all I'm saying is when they got that crystal ball out to analyze their backgrounds to see if they had committed any crimes, in my version of the story, the children would have all the crimes down, like human trafficking, murder, attempted kidnapping, successful kidnapping, just an endless list. Yeah, that should have happened. It should have been like the entire list of crimes that like Sonic lists out in that one Jet video. Just that entire thing comes up on the appraisal orb. That would have been peak writing. But we didn't get that version of the show, so it's actually Abyss tier.
It just didn't do anything. Like, what you're mentioning right now is the possibility of any stakes. And anytime any stakes appeared whatsoever, they were undone by their own writing. It's just, what is this? I was bored. So bored.
I was interested enough to watch the entire first episode, except I put a lot of it on 2x speed. Actually, I don't think I ever even got to 2x, I think on 1.5x, but still, I had to speed it up to get through it, which means it's bad.
Did you have to speed through Bye Bye Earth?
No. This one's decent.
This was not bad, yeah.
It's got issues, but it's decent.
Yeah. I kind of agree.
Like, we're all talking like, yeah.
I don't think any of us are like head over
nice.
heels for it, but it's okay. You know, I could see myself checking out the manga in a pinch if there's nothing else to read. You know, it's nothing
Also, they were trying shit. Like, the writing, in particular, fighting a flower. The flower is trying to spread its seeds out, and then they make a connection to, like, she doesn't have anywhere. She does want somewhere where she can make connections. And it's like, I see what you did there. They wrote something.
I do like the visual of, you look up in the sky, there's just a giant Earth.
Is that what that is? I didn't put this together.
I thought that was the planet Earth.
Are you telling me that she's a moon baby? She got shot to the...
She might be a moon baby.
Another thing I would like to...
Maybe there is sentient life on the moon, and it is furries. Racist furries.
Yeah. Smooth skin is what they'll call her later.
Yeah, so
yeah, that sounds like a slur.
I like all the conceptual elements of the show. This idea that we're in a world with animal-human hybrids and she's the only normal human around. And so she is like concerned about where she comes from. You know, there's like discrimination based on that, or like people don't really know how to interact with her because they've never seen someone like her before. She, you know, feels isolated from the world and, you know, everyone around her. And so she's like trying to find her people, like where she comes from, where she can call home, because she, you know, in the current world, with her being the only person who looks like that, has nowhere to call home in her eyes. And, you know, I like even, you know, some of the stuff near the end with like, oh, you know, to become a nomad, you know, you have to, I don't really know why you have to do it, but, you know, your master has to like pass on this curse through this ritual or whatever, and then he, you know, fades away because I don't know, it's like something to do with the ritual. Here's the problem.
And then you gotta kill him.
Yeah, so she's got to kill her own master. Yeah, the issue is that 2 episodes worth of plot happened in one. It's always the Achilles heel,
yeah,
like every seasonal. Because I do not care about this sensei. I don't know him. He's just some dude to me. And we have not established that. Like, you know, the beginning of the episode was good. It did well to establish, like, what the mechanics of this world are, you know, what it's like. There are animal people. There's these monsters that, you know, spread seeds that sprout other monsters, and she can, like, kind of, you know, sympathize with them, and so she makes sure that some of the seeds get, you know, pushed in, you know, she throws them in a river towards the ocean where the monster wanted to be. I got
Yeah,
that.
some Demon Slayer ass empathy fighting.
Yeah, it's just that, like, that latter half of the episode, like, I was into it. It even got me feeling a certain way, but I was like, this is not how you tell it. You should wait to show me the good stuff, because there is a lot more development we need before we can get to that point in the story. So like, yeah, if that had happened at the end of episode 2, it would have been good, because even before that, like, I was kind of confused as to why he suggested becoming a nomad so quickly, because we don't really know their dynamic yet, and it seemed to be a pretty chummy relationship or whatever. It seemed to be pretty comfortable, so it seemed like kind of out of nowhere. And so just having more time to just collect ourselves and, realize what these people are like, it would have gone a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole time where they're having the scene where she's forgetting, all her memories of him are being erased, and she has to strike him down. He says, "This is my final lesson as a teacher." I was like, who are you again?
Bro, we didn't...
I've
it's
seen
his
you
final
for
lesson,
4
but
minutes.
we didn't see one before that. Like, that's kind of an issue.
Like, the only thing that they established about this dude is that he likes mixing ketchup and mayonnaise in his food.
Look, that's a deep characterization, Neon. I don't know what you're complaining about. I got his entire worldview from that, frankly.
He is a mayo chup stan.
And it's for that reason he must die.
I don't know. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. It kind of felt like another encyclopedia show where they do a lot of expositing of a proper noun soup, of like things like the Negronus and
the army of insatiable emptiness.
I'm like, what do these words mean?
They just show like that's a proper noun. Remember it, and it's like, but tell me anything, please.
It's like, I'm not saying I need everything explained to me like a baby. I'm just saying, please don't throw all these different things in my head with no context. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be lost.
Like there's a balance that needs to be hit, because obviously this is a fantasy realm. We're not in a fantasy realm. You want to feel like the world is bigger than you, and a lot of that is not dropping everything in your lap. Like, she mentioned the army of insatiable emptiness, and I was like, holy shit, I want to know what that is right now. But she didn't, and they didn't. And stuff like that can help make a world feel bigger, because it seems to be a legitimate concern of hers. But then they don't explain anything at all. So it goes from making the world bigger to... what do you want me to... I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I here?
Why? How did she know the sword was there, and why? And how was she able to run to it and then free it from its chains?
Seems like the sword has a mind of its own. That's...
Did the sword choose her? Are they bonded?
We just don't know.
Also, one thing I wanted to point out about the sword, it has a waviness in it, which is a Damascus. That's a legitimate smithing method. So that's attention to detail that I liked.
So that's what the point of Damascus.
Fuck. Oh. Pissed.
Yeah, I like.
Well, I'm leaving early, guys.
The cool parts of this show, it's when it's like, it has the cool. I don't need like certain like imagery explained completely. Like, is that really planet Earth off in the distance there? Or are we on the moon? Are we moon baby? I don't know. Like that's like the cool, interesting things we can find out as we go along. But shit like, what is an Enola? What is a Negroni? That's the kind of thing I need to have explained to me to get context for. That we needed more of.
Yeah, I agree. What?
Also, sorry if you can hear thunder in the background. It's about to storm where I am.
I did hear some, but we're near the end of the podcast. It doesn't matter anyway.
But we only have a few more.
So and we only got a few more, and I don't think we're gonna spend too long talking about a nobody's way up to an exploration hero.
This is one of the few that I stopped watching.
I did not watch it.
Yeah, bro, you didn't pog when bro summoned the lolly angel that calls him his master?
I didn't get that far.
Wait, Lolly Angel? Okay, now I'm hooked, clearly. Best show ever, anime of the season? Yeah, I'm glad I skipped it.
Yeah, the only interesting thing about it is that it kind of pulls a solo leveling where dungeons and monsters exist in Japan in the real world. He doesn't get isekai'd. The isekai gets isekai'd to his world.
Yep.
And they've turned it into Disneyland. They've turned it into Universal. You can go down into the dungeon and you can get money for it, but then they also built a theme park behind the dungeon. And it's like, hey, while you're here to tour the dungeon, check out our theme park that we built around it.
And that was cool. But
yeah, the main guy hunts slimes with insecticide because it's poisonous to them. They found out.
Yeah,
so that was a little creative.
That was
but
cute.
then after I saw the lolly angel, and as soon as she said, "How may I serve you, master?" I'm like, "Okay, nope, I'm out of here."
Yeah,
I think this was like one of the last isekai I had watched. So by this point, I actually, my first note is isekai bullshit, and that's all I wrote.
I also noticed that in the opening and in the poster that there's a dark angel or like some kind of fallen angel lolly that is also shows up. So I think he's gonna be building the ultimate unholy lolly harem.
And I love that for him. Live his truth. Not for me though.
Yeah, that's about all.
I'm gonna live my truth,
quality assurance,
which is not watching that show.
Quality assurance in another world. Neat premise, boring execution.
Yeah,
I actually liked this one. I think
enjoyed
it's
it,
decent.
but
it seems like
yeah,
a big...
I enjoyed it, but yeah.
So, God, this show, right? So I like its design sense. I like the main, I think it's got some interesting ideas. I think, I like the art style. When it said, like, oh, look at these dragons, and it's just these giant, like, spherical, strange-looking monsters, I'm like, okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. The problem is, it's got decent production values. It looks fine. But I just wish there was a bit more, bit extra oomph. Because while the character designs and art look really distinct, and I love the aesthetic, the backgrounds do not really. They look like they're just from some bog standard anime, and it almost feels like, I know what Neon's about to say, it doesn't even look like they're inhabiting the world they're in, or, something to that effect. It's kind of a clashing style, and I don't like that about it. But everything else, I was pretty on board with, It's nothing spectacular, but I liked it.
I kind of found the character art and designs to be a little ugly and unappealing.
What are you talking about? I liked the design.
I found it captivating. I couldn't figure out if it was good or bad, but I certainly was like, well, this looks like it. Like, I haven't seen anything look like this. I kind of arrived at, like, we have Dragon Ball at home, so, some Dragon Quest, sort of. But I'm not a Dragon Ball fan, so that could just be complete bullshit. But it looks like itself. I haven't seen anything like it.
I was not getting Akira Toriyama vibes at all from this.
Oh, no, it's not. I mean, like, off-brand Dragon Ball. But, I also liked that our main character for the episode wasn't the main character. That was a fun little twisty-turny. And then we get his backstory, and then, a mystery. Ooh, why is she back? I thought it kept me long. I watched all the way to the end. Will I keep watching it? No, but
I'll probably read the manga.
I found this interesting.
Like, I'm interested enough to read the manga.
It's like
because
I like it's Sword Art Online meets Wreck-It Ralph type of guy.
Like,
because she's the glitch.
Also, one thing, I haven't mentioned this through any of the isekai, but gamified logic pisses me off. It's fine if it's there. I don't like it. And pretty much
we hate stat screens too.
Most everything that we have hit so far is really, really gamified. Even shit that doesn't really need to be, like, no longer allowed in another world had some gamified bullshit in it, despite not needing it at all. And then this show, Quality Assurance, absolutely could. They could get away with that, but they find some quote unquote in-universe fantastical explanations. Like, yes, he is killing what is supposed to be an unkillable enemy with a couple of items, essentially. He's just firebombing Gaping Dragon, is essentially what's happening here. And you can figure that out outside of the world logic, but because we're watching the show from the perspective of the girl, one of the fantasy people, they're treating it like it's a real thing that's happening. And I liked the framing a lot of that. They took something that could have just been basic bullshit. It's so easy to gamify things. And instead, quite literally trying to make the game make sense in its own logic. Not having to break out into any sort of stat screens. I liked that after so much time without it. Or with it, rather.
I'm looking at the cover of the manga right now. Dude, this seems up my alley. Like, the art style is so cute in the manga. Like, I think I'm gonna read it. Like, I enjoy the story. I like the characters so far. You know, I'm interested in the mystery. And, like, you know, I saw it coming that it was actually, like, a game just because of the title. Because I was like, oh, you know, well, it's quality control. He's here to make sure everything is in line. Or I thought maybe it'd be like, you know, he's working for God or whatever and, like, making sure the world is all in order. Something to that effect. But I did not expect it to be, like, as grim as it was. That took me off guard, and I enjoyed that. Where it's like, even if I can...
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like the kind of thing where you can see... Like, you can see it coming to a certain degree, but you'll never be able to guess it, like, entirely. It's always going to have that, like, unknown variable up its sleeve. And I like that about it.
Yeah, like, in a genre which is so very, very saturated, and most of their ideas are fucking obvious, this anime takes what should be obvious ideas and spins them. And, again, in such a saturated pool... The fact that it's even making the attempt makes it so notable.
Yeah, I mean, I like this show
because I just don't have that much to say.
I don't know what Neon's on about.
I did look at the manga art. Oh, I did look up the manga art while y'all were talking, and the manga art does look better than the anime.
Yep.
So I'll give you that. I think what's taking me out of it is the just the way it was presented to me. Like, the direction was kind of flat. Like, the reveal, I did like the reveal that it's not actually a fantasy world. It's a fake virtual game that people are stuck inside, and this guy is just debugging it and bug testing it, and now he has to figure out the reason behind why Vanellope over here is is bugging and can die but come back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for the show. I like it. And that's
now
about all I have to say, honestly.
Yep.
Sucks that it's so low down under so many actually, like, terrible isekai.
For real.
What about the what the fuck?
Ossan?
I don't know what that even means. Newbie adventurer trained to death by the most powerful party became invincible.
Ossan means old man or middle-aged.
Bro is 30.
Ancient, decrepit.
I mean, in football terms,
I am 26.
It's okay. I'm 24.
I am.
And he just turned 20.
Oh. So this, I referenced it earlier. I Parry Everything and this are very similar in, like, their overarching conceit of they are extremely powerful. People are aware of that. They don't seem to be. I Parry Everything is much more serious about it. This is comical. It is full comedy.
The whole time I was watching it, I was just reminded of Helk, and I'm thinking, like, damn, I'd rather be watching Helk right now because this isn't as funny.
Yeah. That opening
or even Mashal.
True. That opening song, it had me, like, freaking out. Never have I so quickly been told you should not be here. That I was like, oh, this is for kids. I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like probably of everything on the list the most for boys show. Which is odd because it's about a middle-aged person. Or so they are putting it. I get maybe actually wait. If it's for kids like a 10-year-old would think that a 30-year-old is middle-aged. It's all coming together. I'm starting to figure it out.
Kids want to be 30-year-olds because like the 30-year-olds are all like the adults with all the cool jobs. They're the cowboys. They're the astronauts.
Yeah,
they're the firefighters.
Yeah, they could drink and vote.
That is all what life aspires to, just being able to drink and vote.
But yeah, very silly, very silly. There was a couple of things throughout it that had my interest, like the blue people, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed fuckers whose names I do not remember. They had the fire magic and the speed. They're kind of our villains, for lack of a better word, in this first episode, and they are exuding class and talent. And our newbie here, he doesn't. He had to train really, really fucking hard. One could say trained to death by the most powerful party. And he had to work for everything that he has. So I wrote this down, and I know that the show isn't going to do it based on how dorky it is. But I was like, hey, we could do a sort of like talent versus hard work theme here. And then, but instead, no. I think that this is probably a good show for those who are here for it. But it's
all this show did was just remind me that I should go back to Hulk, I should go back to Mashal, and I should go back to Kaiju number 8.
Yeah, that's the thing. There are better shows than this. If it's your trash, go ahead. I found myself in like. Actually, it's like an opposite of One Punch Man. No one knows that he's strong, but he's actually super strong. And instead, it's everyone knows he's strong, but he doesn't think he is. It's got a similar gagginess to it. But, this is not going to reach the heights One Punch Man did in its first season. Pretty important asterisk there. Read the manga. As for this, yeah, it's fine.
Crunchy, you've been quiet. Anything to add?
I have not watched this show.
That's what I thought.
I know. Sorry for talking so much about it. There were so many things that it could have been, and I was like, huh. And then it's not going to be any of those things. I also hated the elf's design. She is introduced by her tits.
How you gonna make a dark elf not attractive?
Make him attractive. Go ahead. I would love to see her face. Please. They start by the boobs, and then they pan up to her face for maybe a second. Then in the next frame, they're at her chin, and then go right back down to boobs. And even her design of her costume, it's her boob bag, let's call it, is gray. And I thought a lot about this. And the sleeves of her
put a lot of thought into this.
The sleeves of the outfit are black, and they're the sleeves don't meet the boob bag. So there's a bunch of color. The use of color is used to draw your eyes right to the boobs. And I was like, wow, they put in so much effort. They really want you to think this character's hot. And like, sure, yeah, but also
her face is not hot at all.
I know. That's the thing. She looks kind of alien. And that's everything I have.
I've got nothing else to add.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of alien, TP Bond, or Time Patrol Bond. Crunch, I'm guessing you didn't watch this one either.
Nope. This is the end of shows I've seen.
Bro is now making the thumbnail.
I am, in fact, making the thumbnail right now. You literally guessed it.
So, this is an adaptation of a 70s manga by the Doraemon author Fujio F. Fujiko, to commemorate the 90th anniversary of his work.
And God, you can
And
tell.
yeah, because it's one of those like throwbacks, like it's the old school 70s style of 70s anime art style, just with our modern current day sensibilities. This was the only show that I was not able to finish, although I would have finished the full episode if I had time. And from what I'd seen, I was not like falling head over heels for it, but it's like I'd enjoy it a lot as if I were a kid. Like it would
Yeah,
be a
exactly.
very fun kid show.
Like really pretty. I liked the drawing.
I would have a little boy crush on the I didn't
Time
catch the
Cop.
name of the episode, but the time cop. Yeah, she you know what she reminds me of? She reminds me of Mona from the WarioWare games. In fact, now that I think about it, I would not be surprised in the least if Mona was directly inspired by that design.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, really cute. Loved the art. The random moments of 3D, with how, I don't want to say basic, but with how simplistic the designs of the background are, going to 3D, I was like, hey, that works. You didn't have to put too much extra juice on it, because we already have such simplistic backgrounds. I like it. Story, yeah, it's some Harry Potter bullshit. Child discovers that there's a world bigger than there was at the beginning, and it's for kids. It was competent, and I liked it. But it's not for me. I think it'd be good for the people who it's for.
If I were a kid scrolling Netflix and I found this, I'd be like, "Oh, this is so cool! All the pretty colors and stuff."
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's not something that I'm like actively thinking about returning to.
Exactly. Like if I had kids, yeah, this sure beats Coco Melon.
I wouldn't call it Coco Melon.
I said beats Coco Melon.
Oh, okay, all right. It definitely gets bonus points for being for its legacy, because I think it's like the first adaptation of Time Patrol Bone in like 40, 50 years.
Yeah, from what I saw, it definitely hasn't passed the 2000s.
Yeah.
The last one was an animation special in '89.
So I've even passed the 90s.
Yeah. So this is a really cool one for historicals, for historical sake. That's not how you say that. And also, it's not bad.
I would also not call Rising Impact bad either, and it's also somewhat of a legacy show. It's based on a manga from Weekly Shonen Jump by the Seven Deadly Sins author that predates Seven Deadly Sins from 1998 to 2002.
I see.
And you can tell that it's the Seven Deadly Sins author because one look at main character Gerald McBoing, and you'll see like, yep, that is the Melodious face.
Mm-hmm.
That is just young Melodious, even younger Melodious.
I'm not much of a watcher for sport anime, but this seems like it's good.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be continuing it. But I feel the same way about it that I feel as TP Bone. It's like it's a fun kids show.
Exactly.
But doesn't seem like something that I would be, tuning in week to week to be like, oh man, I hope he becomes the best hitter of balls, which I sounds like a joke, but no, that's literally how he describes himself. He wants to play a sport where he can hit the ball the farthest. I don't understand why that is his specific goal.
I thought it was fun. Like, that's some kid logic. Like, I don't care about sports.
It is kid logic.
care about ball far.
So he was into baseball at first, then he meets the golf lady, and she teaches him about golf, and she's like, oh yeah, in golf, you can hit a golf ball way farther than you can hit a baseball. And he's like, it blows his little
Get owned,
child mind.
baseball. You're
He's
cringe.
Like, Yeah, so yeah, literally, he kind of goes like, yeah, baseball is gay now. I want to play golf. I want to be the best at golf. And because of his childhood and his environment, he has all of the skills necessary to be good at golf. If I imagine that it's probably going to what might bring him down to earth is when he needs to work on his short game in golf, because it's not just about hitting the ball the farthest, it's about hitting it close to the hole, so you don't want to overshoot the hole. So I imagine there's probably like a training arc where he's like, no, Gawain, you can't hit the ball with a putter 100 meters away. You have to tap the ball in. He's like, but you're not hitting the ball far at all.
We're getting dangerously close to the plot of Happy Gilmore.
It's been a while since I've seen Happy Gilmore, so I forgot about that.
But yeah,
wait, is that Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison?
Billy Madison is the one where he goes back to school, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good.
Okay, yeah, I get my Adam Sandler movies confused.
It's those are the two. It's really easy to get those two in particular crossed. But yeah, Rising Impact, it was good. I liked it. I don't watch sport anime really, so for me it's like, cool, love that for them.
Yeah, it's not something I'll be continuing. How's it going, y'all? Future Neon here. This has been part 1 of the Summer 2024 Seasonal Anime Podcast here on Castaway Anime. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week for part 2. We're going to be talking about all new anime, like The Deer Show, The Elusive Samurai, Too Many Losing Heroines, and more. I'm Neon Manta, and you'll see us next time.